requiring those lower court judges, as Chevron deference does, to defer to the agency, then the law is constantly in a state of flux because the agency at any point in time can change what it's saying the meaning of the law is, and the judges are forced to acquiesce in that changed meaning of the law whenever the agency says so. And that's really not the role that we typically think of judges having. I don't think it's the role that the Constitution gives Article III judges in our system.
And you say rely on judges, that the system should just, if there's confusion, then go to a court, right? The judges should be interpreting the law. But Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said that's going to result in chaos here, that suddenly we're not going to have this, we wouldn't have this deference. Does this hamstring these agencies if it didn't exist, or increase litigation to a point where it is chaotic?
Well, I think what it does is it makes it so that these agencies can't extend their power the way that they're doing now. And that if they want more power, or in this case, more funding, then they have to go to Congress, and they have to get Congress to be clear about what Congress wants in that respect. So do I think it hamstrings the agency? No. I think, look, if it's hamstringing agencies, it's because agencies are going above and beyond their statutory authority all the time. But if you're talking about, is it still going to be possible for agencies to do their job if they lose Chevron deference? Well, absolutely. If they're following the will of Congress and they're doing what the statute empowers them to do, then there isn't going to be litigation over that. It's only when they exceed their statutory authority that folks are going to say, hey, wait a minute, you can't get away with that anymore.
Megan Laff, Fisheries Liaison for Seafreeze, and Mark Chenoweth with the New Civil Liberties Alliance. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
This is News Talk STL on 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Have you ever noticed in the Godfather movies, whenever you see oranges, it means death, or at least something really bad? We'll discuss that on Porcelli's Deli Thursday at 10:25.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, it's Columbo and Katie inviting you to join us, plus Mark Close and a whole bunch of our musical friends, Saturday, January 27th at Westport Playhouse.
Our band, Mark's band, and Lenny Mink will be joined by some very special guests for an awesome night of music for a great cause. All proceeds go to Thrive St. Louis. Get your tickets now at westportplay.com and join us for a great party January 27th at Westport Playhouse. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet.
Tickets on sale now at westportplay.com.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Hey, it's Columbo and Katie inviting you to join us, plus Mark Close and a whole bunch of our musical friends, Saturday, January 27th at Westport Playhouse.
Our band, Mark's band, and Lenny Mink will be joined by some very special guests for an awesome night of music for a great cause. All proceeds go to Thrive St. Louis. Get your tickets now at westportplay.com and join us for a great party January 27th at Westport Playhouse. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet.
Tickets on sale now at westportplay.com.
Join me for the all-new Fox News Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon.
Fox News Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon. Saturdays at 10 p.m. Eastern. Only on the Fox News Channel. Saturdays just got a whole lot funnier. Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Thursday, January 18th, 2024. I'm Ted Lindner. This is the Fox News Rundown. The countdown to next week's New Hampshire primary is on. Immigration a top concern for voters in the New Hampshire primary. Fox's Madison Allworth has more from Manchester, New Hampshire.
Immigration and the border have been major talking points for all 3 Republican candidates stumping across New Hampshire ahead of Tuesday's primary. Nikki Haley touting her experience as governor as to why she is the one with the solution to the southern border crisis.
When I was governor, we passed the toughest illegal immigration law in the country. President Obama sued us over it, and we won. We'll do that nationally.
According to a recent poll, immigration is more pressing than the economy to voters here in the Granite State.
More than half of likely voters in New Hampshire say the president's handling of the southern border makes them less likely to vote for him in the general election. The decision to designate Iran-backed Houthi fighters in Yemen as a terrorist group may not be permanent. Fox's Jared Halpern has more on this from the White House.
The Houthis have a decision to make, White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says.
If the Houthis cease the attacks, we can certainly reconsider this designation.
Kirby says labeling the Houthis a specially designated terrorist group allows new sanctions to be applied, but is a step short of a foreign terrorist organization designation, which the Biden administration dropped in 2021 to give more access to aid organizations providing humanitarian relief in Yemen. The Houthis have been launching missiles and drones at commercial shipping vessels in the Red Sea for weeks. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
U.S. Central Command saying drones launched from Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen struck U.S.-owned vessels in the Gulf of Aden. No injuries, but some damage was reported. Pakistan's Air Force has carried out retaliatory strikes in Iran targeting Pakistani insurgents. Iran saying the airstrikes killed 4 children and 3 women. The strikes followed Iran's attack Tuesday on Pakistani soil that left 2 children dead as tensions between the two countries continues to rise. And Speaker Mike Johnson hosting a bipartisan candlelight vigil with members of the House of Representatives to commemorate 100 days since the horrific attacks perpetrated by Hamas against Israel began on October 7th. Speaker Johnson was joined by Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar, Congressman Max Miller, and Congressman David Kustoff, and they were also joined by families of those being held by Hamas. And President Biden Wednesday gathering congressional leaders at the White House to talk about his proposal for a $110 billion national security package. The president asking Congress for money to aid both Israel and Ukraine. Republicans, including Speaker Mike Johnson, have indicated they want to see money for border security. I'm Ted Lindner, and this is the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL on 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Thursday. Tim and I will talk about the New Hampshire debate that wasn't. And at 5:25, we'll speak with Tom Smith from the Soda Museum.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo. The new year is upon us, and the cleaning pros at Zero Res are starting things off with a bang with what I think is their best offer ever. Book a cleaning in January and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119. Plus, you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. We trust Zero Res with our home, and after you take advantage of this amazing special, you will too. Just remember to mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Investment advisory services offered through OWLFI LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Are you or someone you know providing or managing care for a loved one today? Did you know there could be more cost-efficient solutions for funding long-term care, even those currently living in a skilled care facility today? Financial strategist and long-term care specialist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management can show you tax-efficient strategies available to help your family manage care concerns. Whether planning for the future or managing care for a loved one today, solutions exist to provide the financial peace of mind you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book, A CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Request your free copy of Chris's book by visiting SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Hi, everybody. It's your buddy Todd Showalter, along with my buddy Joey V from The Right Mind Show. You know how they always say, new year, new me? Well, we don't say any of those stupid things here. But you know what? Every week, we do have a new guest right here on The Right Mind Show. Isn't that right, Joey V?
Stop being so stupid and forgetful. Put it on your calendar. Saturdays, 5 p.m., Right Mind Show. Get in your car. Don't drive anywhere. Just look at the radio until sound comes out.
And if you do miss the show because you're watching Matlock at that time, make sure to tune in to rightmindshow.com. That's rightmindshow.com for all the show replays. And plus, what better things do you have to do on a Saturday at 5 o'clock?
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Thursday, welcome to the Icebox of New Hampshire, the live free or die state, unless you expire from frostbite. It's chilly in this quintessential New England place. You might begin humming "Here Comes the Sun" in early May, if global warming kicks in. The Granite State is a tough area where whiners are shunned. Ice hockey without helmets, ice fishing with no shelter, steak and eggs, high cholesterol is a hobby. New Hampshire. Donald Trump, not a favorite son here. Too bellicose, too city slicker. The conservative areas north of Concord like his policies, but in general, his style is too brash for this rural place. Nikki Haley plays well in the southern part of the state, which is dominated by Boston commuters fleeing punitive taxation. The South Carolinian is a factor here, and a good amount of Democrats will vote for her in the open primary next Tuesday in order to hurt Trump. If Haley wins or even comes close, the corporate media will coalesce around this simple message: Trump is damaged. Joe Biden not even on the ballot because New Hampshire people loathe him. Ron DeSantis bolted from Iowa to South Carolina, but he's back in New Hampshire now. He's polling in the single digits, though. He doesn't have a chance. So that is the setup, Trump versus Haley next Tuesday. Let the snowball fight begin. Back after this.
To avoid digital threats, turn on NordVPN. It's trusted by millions of users. Just visit NordVPN.com. One of the fastest VPNs on Earth will block web trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. It will also encrypt your internet traffic while maintaining a smooth connection. So improve your digital privacy and protection against hackers with one simple click. Get the special deal at NordVPN.com and enjoy safer internet daily. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A near normal chilly night, low down to 23. A few flurries are possible in the morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 36. Dry for much of the day, but let's watch for some light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Mainly around 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Could see a dusting to an inch. Not a whole lot, but even light accumulations can make for some tricky travel. It'll end before the Friday morning dry, but let's watch for any slick spots that continue. Then Friday, cold air just blasts in here. A low of 11 and a high of 16. A windy day. Wind chills in the morning down to minus 10 to minus 20. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
There is no room in America for this kind of conduct. All of a sudden, they care about free speech? No, they care about dependency and control.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
She will devour the real truth like it was a light snack.
The agenda that the far left is pushing is not working for us. And I'm talking about everybody who look like me.
101.9 and 94.1.
Fight for our freedom.
This is News Talk STL. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Over the years, we do our best to keep track of what's happening in our schools. Specifically, this bizarre, evil wave of indoctrination, sexual indoctrination of kids in the public school system. We're fighting back. We're getting better people elected in some areas, but also conservatives are simply going to court to try to reclaim those rights for parents. Are we actually winning? Well, there is a case that the Supreme Court is considering. Whether they take it up or not remains to be seen. That could return that power to the parents. So we're going to talk about that here in just about 30 minutes or so. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your Thursday morning. Yep, we're on the backside of the week, and the weather's going to be a little bit warmer today, so enjoy that because it'll probably get cold again after another day or so. But let's talk politics in Missouri here. State Senator Bill Eigel was on the show with us on Wednesday, and he is on a mission, he says, to reduce or eliminate some of the taxes that we pay every year, some of the most irritating ones. And then, of course, he's running for governor, so we got an update on his campaign as well. Here's what the senator had to say.
Let me start with a couple of legislative questions. Saw a couple articles this morning regarding some municipalities, some from your neck of the woods, St. Charles County, saying, hey, legislature, could we get a clarification on this senior citizen property tax freeze? And one of the local lawmakers saying, hey, there might be some more governments take advantage of that or implement it if they had some clarification on some things. Are there concerns valid? Is there anything that needs to be done to clarify that? Because I think it's a really good idea to say, hey, the people who have paid their dues for their entire life, we're not going to keep thumping you over the head with property taxes at least. So what's the status of that?
Yeah, good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me. And yes, Senate Bill 190, we did hear a bill in committee yesterday that would provide some clarifications on the law. And really, some of the municipalities came forward and had some specific hypotheticals that they felt weren't being answered by the bill. Yet that didn't stop certain counties from going ahead and implementing that tax cut. St. Charles County is one county that has already implemented the tax cut where we limit or we stop assessment increases on seniors. So I think there is some cleanup language we'll do just to make it very clear that the legislature intended to actually cut taxes. And I don't think that that's going to cause anyone to not adopt the provisions of Senate Bill 190. But as you said, it may help a few other counties indeed go ahead and adopt them once that's clear. So, again, just clean up language. It's not going to change any of the heart of the bill, and I expect that'll get done in the next few weeks.
And so is that cleanup language just saying this is what you're allowed to do? I know one of them, they said, well, what's the age that qualifies? I mean, it looks like the original bill was was designed to let the local governments have some leeway here. Others were saying, well, does that mean that they can freeze certain property taxes, like maybe the city, but not freeze it on the schools and that sort of thing? Or is this something that's going to apply across the board?
It's all of the above that you just said. The original bill said any Social Security recipient, which could be a wide variety of folks, younger folks even in certain circumstances. So we're changing that to say 62 and above. Another item is, as you said, there were certain jurisdictions assuming that it only meant county taxes and not school taxes and not, fire department taxes. So we're clarifying that it is all local taxes, county, fire department, schools, libraries, ambulance, all of those, all will be included under SB 190.
Good morning, Bill. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So I want to talk about the push to end personal property taxes. That is my personal crusade, if ever there was one, because I think it's one of the most immoral taxes that one can have as a government. So where are we in that fight?
Great. Yep. That's my crusade, too.
All right.
It's I've been working on this for several years. We heard that bill in committee yesterday, and I introduced a bill, Senate Bill 733, which would completely phase out personal property tax. And basically it would work by if and when local revenues increase, and gosh, every year they seem to increase because assessments go up, right? The increase would be offset by a cut each year to personal property tax until personal property tax was gone. So it's a good way to preserve existing budgets while basically saying, hey, revenues, net revenues to government can't go up because we're just going to be cutting personal property tax until it's gone. And unfortunately, a bunch of municipalities showed up and said, oh gosh, we just can't operate if we give any kind of tax cut to the taxpayer. And it was the Cottleville Fire Department, the St. Charles County Ambulance District, the O'Fallon Fire Department, who have consistently showed up and said that if they lose even one single dollar, that they're not going to be able to provide these services to their constituents. And yet at the same time, in the same interview, I asked them, hey, what are your budgets now? And have you ever had more money than you have right now? And they admitted that they are all at record amounts of revenue, even adjusted for inflation. And yet they still weren't at a place where they could even consider or support any kind of tax cut on the taxpayer. And I'm frustrated by that. I'm frustrated. I think if that bill went to a vote of the people, it probably gets 80 to 90% because the people know that the tax burden in this state is greater than it's ever been before, and they are sick and tired of politicians in Jefferson City bowing to these municipal municipal entities, not corporate entities, municipal entities coming into Jefferson City and gaining so much sympathy because, gosh, if we lose $1, we're not going to be able to put fires out anymore. If we lose $1, we're not going to be able to drive our ambulance anymore. None of that is true. there is plenty of room to make government more efficient. We have bigger surpluses in Jefferson City than we've ever had before. So we can cut the tax burden. And gosh, these Republicans we keep elected to office, we should cut the tax burden. So we should have done it years ago. We're going to try again this year. But I tell you what, if I can't accomplish it as a state senator, it's going to be my number one priority as the governor of this state. I'm going to lead the government in Jefferson City to eliminate personal property tax. If the day dawns that I'm governor, you will have paid your last personal property tax. That is a promise and a commitment for me.
Okay, I want to get to that campaign in just a minute. But speaking of that, you talk about all the Republicans and what should happen because of the overwhelming number of Republicans. It's interesting to me that you're part of the Freedom Caucus. And the reaction from so many Republicans is, well, I don't know about these guys. What kind of trouble are they going to start? Instead of saying, all right, let's look at a free market type agenda. What do they got in line? Let's talk about it. What's the relationship like now between, several, you and other members of the Freedom Caucus and other members of the Republic, and some of the Republicans who are being a little squeamish about this, they're conservatives. I mean, so where's the status of the relationship? Because we've heard a lot about, the fact that some things aren't getting done because personal relationships have broken down. What's the truth in all of it?
The truth is there is a tense environment in the Senate right now. And, the problem is not that we want to call ourselves the Freedom Caucus and, other folks are upset that they weren't in the Freedom Caucus because they think they're conservative. The problem is there are too many Republicans in the Senate and the House that don't really mean it when they say they want to do big, red, conservative things. I'll give you an example. Number one priority, we just published this yesterday. The number one priority of the Freedom Caucus to accomplish this year, number one, is accomplishing and passing IP reform so that we can protect the initiative petition process on the ballot and make sure that we don't have these out-of-state special interests coming into our state. Number two priority is personal property tax cut, by the way. But number one is IP reform. Now, Republicans in Jefferson City and all over the state have been saying this is the number one Republican priority for the past 2 years. Number one priority. Nothing's more important to that. And yet, here we are in the third week of session, and neither in the House or the Senate have the leadership of those chambers even referred one of the IP bills to committee. They haven't even taken action, and we're in the third week. And this is the problem. They continue to say, we're Republicans, we want to be conservative, we're going to do all those big things, and then they just don't do it. And this is what drives the need for a Freedom Caucus. So what are we going to do? We're going to be loud and bold about the fact that we're going to start killing all the Jefferson City sludge bills that don't really do anything to help the people of the state. They just empower and enrich the special interest in Jefferson City. And if we have to kill every one of those bills, which are a favorite of these moderate rhino Republicans, in order to get the big things done, then we're going to do it. And that is what's causing tension because they know, the rhinos know, that we can absolutely do that when we have an effective fighting force of 6 or 7 senators that are willing to stand up and fight for these principles. So the problem is not personality conflicts. The problem is not personal relationships. The problem is there's too many Republicans that don't want to do Republican things. And then there's a group of real Republicans, of which I'm a part of in the Freedom Caucus, that are sick and tired of it. And we're going to stand up and fight.
Bill, you mentioned a promise that if you become governor, you're gonna cut personal property taxes. I would be the first one to hold you to that promise, sir. But give us a little update about how the campaign for the governorship is going.
It's great. We just had a fantastic fundraising quarter. We raised over $600,000 last quarter. Last year, in total, we raised more than $2.5 million for our campaign. Nobody in Jefferson City thought that we would be able to raise this much money. And by the way, that was $2.5 million we raised by more than 100,000 individual donations. So my average donation is about $25. Compared to a guy like Mike Kehoe that's getting enormous checks from the special interest, his average donation is something $7,000 or $8,000 because he's got a few donors that are very connected in Jefferson City, and he's trying to buy this race. Well, I've got actual everyday folks that are putting in $5, $10, $15 at a time to fund me, helping get my message out. And we are absolutely killing it. And I tell you what, Jay Ashcroft, he actually lost money last quarter because his message is so stale and so associated with the status quo that nobody's buying into it. So we feel like we have a tremendous amount of momentum. We're going up in the polls. We've now moved into second place ahead of Mike Kehoe. And, for all those folks down there in Jefferson City, They keep saying, Bill Eigel can't win this race. Bill Eigel could never win this race. They're only saying that because they could never imagine the Missouri that I'm talking about, where we're going to get rid of personal property tax. And even though the people in Jefferson City, in the hallways of power, don't think it's important that we should get rid of personal property tax, as we've discussed here on the radio this morning, there's a heck of a lot of folks that are ready to support a guy like me because I am going to get rid of personal property tax. And Gabe, I'll say one thing. I'm not going to cut personal property taxes, Governor. I want to be clear. I'm getting rid of personal property tax completely, entirely. You will not have to pay rent on your vehicle. But in order to get to that world, we're going to defeat the swamp on August 6th.
All right, State Senator Bill Eigel, let's go ahead and give out the website again. Gabe's smiling over there.
Oh, man.
As well.
Ear to ear.
But, we've already tagged you on the social media, but what's the website people want to get in touch, learn more?
BillEigel.com. Go on there. You can sign up. You can read about the platform. You can read about personal property tax. You can sign up to be a citizen co-sponsor of my bill to eliminate personal property tax on my website. Check it out. We've had 35,000, 40,000 people sign up on the website already. This message, it's going well. Let's go, Missouri.
That news roundup coming your way just ahead in less than 2 minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Everybody has a right to have their opinion and voice their opinion.
Live and local.
I always approach it from this standpoint. Leftist malfeasance is presupposed.
This is News Talk STL.
Ackerman Toyota had a great 2023, so Jay asked me to thank you for all of your support. Loyal customers making Ackerman Toyota number one in St. Louis Toyota sales. Number one out of the 75 Toyota dealers in the region in Camry and Corolla sales. Ackerman has the lowest prices, great selection. Visit Ackerman at Hampton and 44 or online, AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota, for life.
Hi, Sean Long for STL Fenceworks. STL Fenceworks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL Fenceworks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL Fenceworks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL Fenceworks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL Fenceworks is maintenance-free decking. STL Fenceworks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL Fenceworks make your outdoor space magical. Visit STLFenceworks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
This news update brought to you by Anton's Plumbing and HVAC. Call Anton's at 314-338-3941 or visit them at antonshvac.com.
Good morning, St. Louis. It's Ben Shapiro. I'll talk to you tonight at 11. But right now, back to the Mike Ferguson Show on the new conservative voice of St. Louis, 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Pro-death activists launched their referendum effort to bring abortion back to Missouri today.
All righty.
Here we go.
Here comes the fight.
Yep. Also, if you decided to read your new Bible on a fishing trip, the feds probably know about it, and they're worried about you. You extremist!
Uh-oh.
You did that, didn't you?
They're trying to follow us around.
Remember the old Mayak controversy back about 20-some years ago, where they put these fusion centers together what was it called? The Missouri Information Analysis Centers. Basically, it was local, state, and federal law enforcement centers where they were trying to surveil people, and they had this big list for law enforcement. Hey, watch out if you see this. And among those things were like conservative, pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, NRA, Libertarian Party, Constitution Party bumper stickers and things like that. So things that are completely protected by the First Amendment and you're just allowed to have opinions. We got that shut down with activism way back in the day. This is a whole new level of that same thing. It is government overreach, and it just shows you what the federal government thinks of us. All right. Also, where will you watch Cardinals games on TV this year? I don't mean what's your favorite sports bar. What's your favorite place to watch games if you're not at home?
Usually it would be at a friend's house, to be honest with you.
There you go. Yeah, I'd go to the Post or Cybergs or someplace like that as well. But I mean, which channel or streaming service? Because that's all up in the air for the Cardinals and the Blues. All right, it's 5:52 right now. All right, decline to sign. That's the reminder that we've got. A coalition of pro-abortion organizations launches their petition drive today in hopes of putting a referendum on the ballot that would, if approved by voters, bring elective abortion back to Missouri. The referendum aims to add an amendment to the state constitution. They've got until May 5th to collect just over 171,000 valid signatures to get that measure on the ballot, which means, remember, decline to sign. I don't care what the initiative petition is for, whatever the thing is, just say no. Because there may be some other ones out there, but just to be safe, don't sign any of those at this point. And because the Republicans in the Missouri legislature won't deal with initiative petition reform, it just takes 50% plus one to bring death on a mass scale back to Missouri.
Yes, it does.
All right. We'll get into that a little bit more just here in a few minutes. All right. Federal investigators asked banks to filter customer transactions based on search terms. Now, members of Congress are drawing attention to this, but we should all be really concerned about this. Here's Republican Congressman Jim Jordan. He was on Larry Kudlow's show to talk about this.
At the request of government, you got banks searching private transactions of their customers for key search terms, key words. It looks like without any warrants, without any legal process. And what were those keywords they were searching? Did they purchase religious texts? Did they shop at Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop?
Yeah, and also looking, when he said religious texts, I mean, really doing a search to buy different religious texts. We're talking the Torah, we're talking the Bible, we're talking, maybe other books. The transaction searches were headed by the Treasury Department's Office of Strategic Operations of the what's called the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN. And, of course, they're demanding more testimony on this. I have no problem believing the federal government did this.
No, folks need to be paying attention to what's going on because this smacks of China to me.
Yeah, without a doubt. And my guess is that my guess is this isn't conspiracy theory. This is happening in your bank. Likely does. They get an order. Hey, do a sift, do a search. Give us an alert if anything looks odd. I mean, and some other things were like, which candidates were you searching for? Were you buying stuff? Not searching for. What were you buying? Did you buy something that had Trump in it or MAGA in it or DeSantis in it or pro-life in it or anything like that? That could have very well ended up getting you on the list. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of these searches. More on that later. House Speaker Mike Johnson leads a candlelight vigil on the House steps that was commemorating the first 100 days since Hamas's attack against Israel.
This attack, the first of its kind since the Holocaust, came because of anti-Jewish hatred, and it is our duty to call out this evil. If we don't condemn it, if we don't understand what brought it about, if we don't look at it and call it what it is, then anti-Semitic forces will continue to their global rampage unabated.
And remember, those anti-Semitic forces have a lot of support around the country on college campuses and in Congress, including St. Louis's Representative Cori Bush. People have forgotten the shock of what happened in October, and it's really, really dangerous. Okay, there was supposed to be a debate today. that ain't happening. Presidential candidate, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis held a town hall in Hampton, New Hampshire, ahead of next week's primary there. The Florida governor criticizing his competitors, including Donald Trump and Nikki Haley, for refusing to participate in a debate with him ahead of next week's primary. And he says this is probably just the way it is. We're probably not looking at any more debates in the whole process.
Trump's not going to do any debates in the primary. Haley's not going to do any debates in the primary. And then in the general, what are the chances that Joe Biden would agree to debate me? Probably close to zero. That's not going to happen.
Joe Biden isn't going to debate anybody. It's not going to happen. CNN and ABC News canceled their debates ahead of the primary because Nikki Haley pulled out and Donald Trump refuses to debate his opponents. All right. Could the Cardinals be watched through your Amazon Prime TV subscription? Maybe. Amazon's buying into Diamond Sports, which is in bankruptcy and owns Bally Sports, so that's kind of connecting the dots there. It's unlikely that anything's going to be sorted anytime soon, but one of the options being reported on is that fans could pay an extra fee on Prime to watch local teams. That's just one possibility. The market's changing, and I don't think that the sports world's keeping up with it. By the way, the Blues are back in action tonight, this time on the road for a game against the Capitals in Washington. Game is at 6 p.m. Blues are 21-19-1 on the season so far. Very up and down year.
Freedom isn't just a word. It should be a way of life for all Missourians. Wouldn't it be wonderful to live in a state where you're free from excessive taxes, regulations, and corporate handouts, and free to send your children to the school of your choice? That's why we at the Show Me Institute put together our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, a roadmap on how the state can progress to a bright future. The blueprint covers policy ideas from a Bill of Rights for parents to government transparency, school report cards, healthcare reform, and more. Our vision is for Missouri to be a place where entrepreneurs can pursue their dreams, parents are free to direct the education of their children, and a growing economy provides opportunities for all. Critical to achieving this vision is a government that understands the value of freedom in the lives and future of our people. Check out our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
It's a new year, so come check out the great financing offers going on now at Seavers JCB. Rates as low as 0.99% on nearly all JCB compact construction equipment, including the industry-leading JCB Teleskid. For details, go to SeaversJCB.com. Mini excavators, track loaders, small wheel loaders, and even the industry-leading JCB compact load all range. Seavers JCB has them all. Visit SeaversJCB.com for more information.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. With the New Hampshire primary now just 5 days off, the Republican presidential hopefuls have been paying a lot of attention to the state. Former President Trump leads in Granite State polls, followed by Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. At a rally in Portsmouth last evening, Mr. Trump blasted Haley as a champion of open borders. And speaking of open borders, House Speaker Mike Johnson says the issue came up during yesterday's sit-down with President Biden.
We had a productive meeting, I think, House and Senate leaders. The president was very forthright. I told the president what I have been saying for many months, and that is that we must have change at the border, substantive policy change.
A Senate deal on border security appears to be putting GOP senators on a collision course with their Republican brethren in the House.
The Senate's top Republican, Mitch McConnell, is sounding optimistic the compromise will make it to the Senate floor next week. But its comparatively meager improvements on border security appear unlikely to pass muster with the House. Many conservatives there are demanding more robust border policy changes they say are vital to U.S. national security if they're to sign on to billions in foreign aid to Israel and Ukraine. Bob Agnew reporting.
Mentioned more frequently of late as a possible Trump running mate, GOP Congresswoman Elise Stefanik of New York.
There have now been over 88 recorded acts of violence and intimidation against pregnancy centers, churches, and pro-life organizations by far-left activists. These facilities were set ablaze, defaced, and vandalized. And what have we heard from Joe Biden and Democrats in Washington? Silence.
Her remarks come as throngs of pro-lifers gather today in Washington for the annual March for Life in D.C. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures down 22 points, NASDAQ futures up 120. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A near normal chilly night, low down to 23. A few flurries are possible in the morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 36. Dry for much of the day, but let's watch for some light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Mainly around 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Could see a dusting to an inch. Not a whole lot, but even light accumulations can make for some tricky travel. It'll end before the Friday morning dry, but let's watch for any slick spots that continue. Then Friday, cold air just blasts in here. A low of 11 and a high of 16. A windy day. Wind chills in the morning down to -10 to -20. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Temple.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Are you tired of the corruption and special interest groups controlling our state and cities? Are you tired of yelling at your TV or your car radio because important issues like crime, homelessness, education, and taxes are being blocked by special interest groups? It is time for Missourians to declare our independence from special interest groups corrupting our government. Join the Freedom Principle Mo today, and you can be an integral part of creating the largest statewide member-led organization fighting for America and Missouri First policies. The Freedom Principle Mo is fighting to put the voters back in charge of our government. The Freedom Principle Mo has been a leading voice in Jefferson City, fighting for our police and making our community safer, exposing corruption at the local level and in Jefferson City. It's time to start making our elected officials start listening to us and finally start passing legislation that protects our freedom and protects Missouri's values. Visit our website at freedomprinciplemmo.org and join today and make 2024 the year we get something done.
What happens next?
Iowa, thank you. We love you all.
Happens right here.
The big night is going to be in November when we take back our country.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your
In our country, in our society, over generations, there's been one aspect of our freedoms that we've just assumed was settled, and that's the freedom of religion. The freedom to live out your faith as you see fit, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. Well, in the last few years, that assumption is frankly being disputed, and it's being disputed by government agencies, especially the public school system, which is really sad. I'm Mike Ferguson. I came across an interesting blog post at the First Liberty website, and it just says simply, will Supreme Court protect parents who want to raise children consistent with their faith. And I'm joined now by First Liberty's Kayla Toney. And Kayla, thank you for being on the program, especially with you leading so many of the religious freedom efforts that First Liberty takes on in court. This particular case that we'll start with is just outside of Washington, D.C., in Montgomery County, Maryland, as I understand it. And Kayla, kind of give me the primer on this case, because this has to do with objections to a lot of the sexual content, as I understand it.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me on the show. It's great to be here and talk with you about these important topics. So this is a case that friends of ours are working on in Montgomery County. This is regarding a gender identity policy in a public school system that requires staff to hide children's gender transitions from their own parents. It requires staff to rank how supportive they think the parents will be on a scale of 1 to 10. There's no basis for this ranking. The staff has never spoken with the parents at this point, but all that has to happen is a child just expresses some sort of interest in changing a name or pronouns or using a different restroom, and then suddenly there's this gender support plan that's set in place, and the staff determines whether they're going to completely exclude the parents. Now, there are, unfortunately, policies like this that are proliferating around the country. One estimate is that there's about 10,000 schools that have this policy in place currently. And obviously that's not widely known because the schools don't want parents to find out and become upset. So in Montgomery County specifically, hundreds of children have already received these gender support plans without their parents' knowledge. And so a handful of courageous parents are standing up to sue over this policy and alleging violations of their parental rights. Now, the problem is the Court of Appeals of the Fourth Circuit held that the parents lacked standing, meaning they couldn't even bring their lawsuit because their own children had not yet begun to transition genders. Well, the problem is the parents would have no way of knowing because the school is keeping this secret. So it's a catch-22, and it puts parents in an impossible position. So now our friends are appealing to the Supreme Court, and we are supporting them with an amicus brief on behalf of a large coalition of different faith groups. So while the case itself focuses on parental rights, obviously it has important implications for religious families. And so we at First Liberty, because the First Amendment and religious freedom is our main focus, we are representing 5 different organizations. They're Jewish, Muslim, and Hindu and Christian groups. So we've got 4 faiths that are part of this coalition. And we're asking the Supreme Court to review this case and correct the error, saying that parents cannot even challenge the policy until their children actually begin to transition genders. So we're hopeful that the court will take the case. It's always a long shot with the Supreme Court. They only take a small percentage of the petitions that are presented to them, but we think this one is particularly important because of the issues at stake.
And if somebody wants to look up the case, they can look up John and Jane Parents versus Montgomery County. And while the religious freedom aspect of it, because we're talking, Kayla, about the parents' right to rear their children with the values that they instill, and obviously the schools are trying to compete with that. But is this as much about religious freedom, or is it about the role of government in not trying to compete with that?
It's really both. Yeah, the case itself focuses on parental rights, so for any parent, whether they're religious or not. But our amicus brief points out that policies like this have an especially harmful impact on religious parents, because if the school staff knows that a family is religious, especially if it's visible, like if they wear a yarmulke or headscarf, for example, they are much more likely to assume that parents won't be supportive. However, that's defined if the child, decides they want to adopt a different gender identity. And so there's really a lot of harm there. And not to mention the children who are forced to use preferred pronouns of their classmates. And that violates the children's faith and, goes against what the children are learning at home. And that's really the issue at the core of this is, should children, especially young kids that don't have the ability to really understand all these complex concepts, should they be forced to choose between their family's religious beliefs that they're learning at home and at church or synagogue, and the agenda of the public school system that is pushing this on them. And, given peer pressure, it's likely that they'll choose to go with what their teachers and school staff are saying. And so that's really the concern at the core of it.
We are visiting with Kayla Toney from First Liberty. And Kayla, when it comes to, I think what people are shocked at is the proactive refusal to tell parents. And some of the school districts I know have said, well, the parents won't support it, and that could be dangerous to the children. That could be dangerous to their mental health. That could be dangerous to their physical health. So literally they're saying we have to protect the children from their own parents' values, which sounds ridiculous to you and to me. But could there be a legal argument that you're going to have to get through if the school district says, hey, listen, we're just trying to protect the kids?
They've tried that. I think it's hard to take that argument seriously when that's their focus, though, because there's no evidence that any of these parents who are being excluded would respond in a hostile way. Family law is very strict about parents have the right to, custody and upbringing of their children. They have the right to educational information. For example, a school can't hide a child's grades from their parents. Even if the child doesn't want the parents to know they're failing a class, the teacher's going to call mom. The school can't administer ibuprofen at recess without calling mom. And so the idea that the school could launch this incredibly significant psychological endeavor, really a medical decision, and granted, none of these school staff are trained as medical experts on gender dysphoria. And so really it can't be in the best interest of the child without any evidence or showing of, potential harm or abuse or anything like that, to just automatically assume that parents won't be supportive. And the reality is the vast majority of parents, are in the best position to support their kid because they know their kid and love them, and they can understand the whole range of issues that the kid is experiencing, which probably include peer pressure. Mental health is often at the core of these issues. Internet abuse can be a real trigger. There's a lot more to the story than a simple request for new pronouns or name, and parents are the most well-positioned to provide whatever the child needs, but without, school staff making that decision in isolation from the family.
And we've got just a moment or so left here, Kayla. So really what we're talking about is a battle of ideologies, and a government entity, the school district in this case, and like you said, thousands of others around the country, they've just simply decided that the government ideology should overrule the ideology of the home, is what I'm hearing you say.
That's right. Yeah. And I would encourage parents listening in to, check with their own school district, look online, see if you can find these policies. There's a really good map called Indoctrination that shows the whole country. It's on Parents Defending Education's website. They've done a lot of great work in this space as well. And so you can look there and you can see if your school district has a policy like this. And I would encourage you, if you're interested in challenging it, feel free to reach out to us. You absolutely have the right to know what's going on in your child's life. And particularly for religious parents, I think there's a real opportunity here for parents to stand up, to speak up about their rights, to express, the care and the love that they have for all children, and the importance of including parents and families in these really sensitive decisions.
All right. And how do they get in touch with you or your colleagues?
Check out our website at firstliberty.org. You can learn all about the great cases that we're working on. You can read our client stories, and you can request legal help. We are proud to represent clients of all faiths free of charge. We're donor supported, and so grateful for the opportunity to represent families like these.
All right. Thank you so much, Kayla. Really appreciate the information.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
If the Supreme Court ends up taking this case, as Kayla was talking about, this could affect thousands of school districts that are trying to indoctrinate kids into something that is just plain evil. So once again, First Liberty is where you're going to find more information. Got some thoughts on this? Because if you think that your local school district's not doing it, you're probably wrong, even if you are in a red area. The school districts, we've said it over and over again, they have just been captured by the leftist establishment, and you've got to be on guard. Like Kayla was saying, it would really help if you've got a kid in any K through 12 public school district. you need to contact them and say, what is your policy on this? And that could be very, very eye-opening. And if they won't tell you, you better talk to First Liberty so they can get you that information. All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Don't try to make me stop. No inspiration. You have a soul so dark. It is no more.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I see your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
Throughout these chilly Midwestern months, where are you going to go for some hometown goodness? That would be Espino's Mexican Grill. Espino's Mexican Grill located in 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road, serving up ooey gooey Mexican authentic goodness every single day of the week. I've been going to Espino's for years. They got the Taco Tuesdays. They got the awesome menu. They got the coldest drinks in town, and it is the fresh alternative to your typical Mexican fare. That's Espino's Mexican Grill, Espino'sMexicanBarGrill.com. Go to Espino's today, 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road. We'll see you there.
I found out that I was pregnant. I was really terrified, and I left Planned Parenthood even more confused. But then I heard about Thrive on the radio, and they truly empowered me to be a godly mom for my son. This wouldn't be possible without partners like you all listening right now. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. The church is why Thrive is able to do what they do, and you can feature a mom like myself at your church for a day of compassion this National Sanctity of Human Life Sunday. Reach out at thrivealivestl.org. That's thrivealivestl.org.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
This is Ben. Hi, Ben. We got a serious issue in Chicago. Immigrants coming into the community. It could be making its way down here. They're talking about 17,000 migrants from Venezuela moving to Chicago. I've been a Democrat my whole life, and since October 7th, everything going on, I don't know how this is values for everybody. The people who have already been working hard and trying to build a life for themselves here.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Columbo and Katie inviting you to join us, plus Mark Close and a whole bunch of our musical friends Saturday, January 27th at Westport Playhouse.
Our band, Mark's band, and Lenny Mink will be joined by some very special guests for an awesome night of music for a great cause. All proceeds go to Thrive St. Louis. Get your tickets now at westportplay.com and join us for a great party January 27th at Westport Playhouse. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet.
Tickets on sale now at westportplay.com.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Okay, protecting kids like we mean it, Gabe.
Yes.
Like we mean it.
Mm-hmm.
It's too bad there aren't more Republicans on board with that in Missouri.
Really?
Yeah, I'll get into that in just a second here.
Okay.
By the way, pro-abortion activists are about to start pushing clipboards and lies in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to update you on what to watch for, and remember, decline to sign.
Decline to sign, sir.
Okay, 6:35. Let's get the update on that as well here. Okay, there is a proposal in the Missouri legislature that would take the temporary, kind of pseudo ban on so-called transgender treatments and make them permanent, make it a real ban.
Right. Okay.
Right. So this has been proposed by a representative named Brad Hudson. He's a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically takes the current act, which, again, doesn't criminalize mutilating children. It just makes you civilly liable if somebody wants to sue, and they can come up with enough money to sue the hospitals and doctors later.
Right.
But what it would do is it would eliminate that 4-year sunset clause.
Okay.
And then it would also take out the exemptions, because remember, the law that passed, the weak law that was passed.
Super weak.
Yeah, it said that if you were already getting injected with these chemicals and these hormones, then you can stay on that treatment.
Right.
So his law does away with that. So if you're 14 and you're getting these injections under this proposal, they would have to stop doing it.
Right.
Okay, so the good news is that even this weak-ass law was enough to scare like the Wash U, pediatric transgender butchers, scare them into not doing this anymore.
Right.
So they'll meet with the kids.
Which was telling, by the
right,
way.
which it really was. They know what's coming, or they think they're worried about what's coming because the lawsuit wave has started.
Yes.
People we're a few years into this, and there are enough people like Chloe Cole, who's been on the show. There are enough people who have said, what did you do to me?
Mm-hmm.
I went in for advice and you pushed me this way. So what, I mean, the pediatric transgender clinic, which should be considered a demonic chain of words. They will still meet with kids and families and try to talk them into it.
Yeah.
But they're not allowed to actually do it. So what I suspect they're doing is that they're just saying, hey, go over to Illinois.
Yeah, they're just referring people.
Go somewhere else.
Absolutely.
But
like Planned Parenthood's doing because of the pro-life laws.
Right, precisely. And so this proposal is there. Now, that would make it better because the sunset aspect of it, that the negotiated, and this was only negotiated among Republicans.
Yeah, seriously. Because we could have done this very easily by ourselves.
Oh, yeah. They could have made it a permanent ban, criminal penalties, everything.
Yes.
The courts have upheld that the states have the right to do that.
Yes. And other states have shown that it's really positively received by the people.
Yes, there is no political risk for this. But instead, the sort of mushy middle moderate Republicans negotiated it down to, okay, you can sue, but then even that all goes away after 4 years.
Right.
And what's becoming apparent is that the Senate and the House leadership in Missouri legislature is hoping that people forget about it and this isn't a hot topic issue, and that this just automatically goes away after 3 more years now.
Yeah, they wanted credit for doing it and also credit for not hurting the people who give them lots of money.
Lots of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Washington University here in St. Louis gives a lot of money and they expect a return on their investment. If you have any questions about this, go look up Caleb Rowden's Missouri Ethics Commission financial statements for his campaign. You're going to see a lot of interesting stuff on there. And you're going to say, why does this guy have that much money? Well, he's the Senate leader because of the Republicans keep putting him in there for some reason.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Caleb Rowden has already told reporters that this bill, that actually fixing and improving this law to protect kids, just not a priority. He's not planning on moving it. He's already said, I'm not planning on moving it. It's just not a priority. We've got 4 years. We'll get to it some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
They could do this in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, without affecting the work of any other bill.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's like this. It's a no-brainer. And there's not much to negotiate about it, right? At this point, I mean, even the changes that are being proposed are like we were discussing. It's relatively weak. It's a mild bill compared to even some other bills across the country.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so they don't want to talk about this, which is very telling.
Yes.
Because, like you said, Gabe, there is no place in Missouri where this is a political loser.
No,
Listen,
not at all.
Pass the law. I mean, to me, I'd make it a criminal offense.
Yes, absolutely.
But if this is the best they're going to do, get rid of the sunset clause. Let Tony Messenger throw a fit.
Yeah, which he will.
Let Promo throw a fit. Let Planned Parenthood throw a fit. Who frickin' cares?
Right. I mean, if you want to wait out the clock because of for some reason, wait out the clock on their tantrum afterwards. Yeah. Don't wait out the clock on the bill itself.
Or let them throw a tantrum and just point and giggle.
we could have fun with it, absolutely.
But here's the thing: here's what I don't want to be doing is in 3.5 or 4 years from right now, I do not want to be here in the morning and saying, "I told you so, I told you so, I told you so," because now it's free game on these vulnerable kids again.
Right, and that's the thing. The I told you so's aren't so fun when it's putting kids at risk.
Right.
It's not so fun when the actual consequences of this stupidity starts hitting Missourians and Americans at large.
Yeah. So that's where that is. It's likely going to stay under the radar unless conservative media like us, and unless those of you who are part of the News Talk STL family light up your lawmakers and say, you've got the chance to make this permanent. That's not a big lift. Just make it permanent. Move on with other stuff.
I don't think it would take very many, I won't say angry phone calls, but I'll say concerned phone calls to actually move the needle on this.
And just over 2 weeks into the legislative session, the Senate leader goes, not my priority, not interested.
Seriously.
I mean,
so
this
stupid.
is unbelievable. This is a guy who pretends to be, he got one of the things he got elected by doing was touting that he was a worship pastor in Columbia. And I've known Caleb Rowden for a long, long time, over 10 years, 10, 12 years. And it's just unbelievably disappointing because he's proven to not, frankly, live out his values that he says he has.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Nice weather today. I woke up this morning and I saw on my weather app, it was 25 degrees in Richmond Heights.
Yeah.
I'm like, T-shirt weather, baby.
Seriously, we picked up 20 degrees.
Man.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay, so today's the day to get your stuff done.
Yes, if you got any outdoor things.
Yeah. Well, I was
Fill
gonna,
up your tires.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I was going to go get my oil change and double check the tire pressure thing, but the service schedule where I got my car isn't allowing that.
Oh, boy.
So I'm going to go in on Monday, but I'll probably go do the air pressure just a little bit on my own here as well. But today is the day to do that because it's going to be cold again over the weekend. Now, no snow or ice, but I do want to congratulate St. Louis on something. When this last winter weather came in, I mean, it wasn't a huge amount of snow, but the really cold weather and stuff, we didn't panic this time.
We didn't seem to, at least.
No, a couple days ago, Rachel and I were at the grocery store, and there was still bread and milk on the shelves.
Whoa!
Yeah.
No way. Okay. See, I thought the Snowmageddon French toast party was on. I mean, that's usually what happens, right? They say, hey, cold weather's coming, and everybody says, oh, no, my French toast. So they run out and they buy milk, bread, and eggs.
Right. So that didn't happen this time.
Okay.
But it was stupid cold. It was dangerously cold. And it's going to be in the single digits over the weekend. But here's the thing. Next week, rain, a lot of rain, and weather in the 40s. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So basically,
St. Louis.
the weather here needs a therapist.
It's bipolar.
Yes.
Bipolar vortex.
And then, I mean, Stell, you watch the stuff closer than we do. I mean, after the towards the end of the week, I mean, it's still in the 40s, but at some point there's another like winter possibility brewing up.
Well, this one, as you mentioned, comes in later tonight. We've got a chance for light snow overnight into tomorrow morning. And then I think it's only highs in the teens over the weekend with lows around maybe like, 0 to 3.
I was going to say I saw 3 to 5, but exactly. Right in that neighborhood.
And then it warms back up. But like you said, there's rain next week. And I think there's rain Tuesday through Friday, at least a 50% chance through that whole stretch.
That's what I saw.
And that will maybe continue for the next couple of weeks where we're going to see this up and down pattern.
So at least all that like silt and snow and grime and ice melt that's all over your car right now, it's going to get washed off with the rain.
Yay! I guess.
Yeah.
It's also a good time to get your battery checked.
That's a good idea.
Since we're going to get these cold snaps here. It's something that you don't think of until you go out and you try to start your car.
And I was going to say, and if you have an electric vehicle, it's also a good day to go in and trade it in for something else.
yeah, exactly. Actually, those stories blew up all around the country because of, like you were talking about the polar vortex, that it hits the whole country. Like there's a whole cold snap pretty much across, moving across very slowly across the whole country. So all of these people in these areas that are getting these really, really low temperatures who've got their Tesla, now the fast charge stations have long lines next to them as though it was like the equivalent of the 1970s gas crisis. So it's what's happening right now. Yeah, it takes an hour to charge those things, and then it's not going to charge very well because of the temperature.
Yeah.
And as you had mentioned about Chicago yesterday, Mike, I saw stories from Minneapolis and Milwaukee. And I can't imagine what's going on in Canada, Gabe.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
In Edmonton and Winnipeg where it's 30, 40 below.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Janet, every time we feel it's cold around here, she checks her phone. She's like, what temperature is it in Edmonton? I was like, oh, okay, it's like 30 degrees lower than us. That's fine.
All right, just ahead here, the hard left has settled on their pro-abortion referendum. This is a real threat
Mhm.
because remember, to get a constitutional amendment in Missouri, it takes literally a 50% plus one vote to amend the state constitution, and that's what they want to do. They want to bring back abortion to the state of Missouri. I'm going to tell you what they're proposing. It's pretty extreme, so you're about to have clipboards and stuff pushed at you, a bunch of lies as well. Let's be ready for this, and let's talk about it right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Back in 86, February and a special number. I just had to know.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A near normal chilly night, low down to 23. A few flurries are possible in the morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 36. Dry for much of the day, but let's watch for some light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Mainly around 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Could see a dusting to an inch. Not a whole lot, but even light accumulations can make for some tricky travel. It'll end before the Friday morning dry, but let's watch for any slick spots that continue. Then Friday, cold air just blasts in here. A low of 11 and a high of 16. A windy day, wind chills in the morning down to minus 10 to minus 20. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Are you a natural leader driven by the desire to make a lasting impact? Is your deepest calling to be an elected official making a real difference? Now, picture yourself with the power to shape the future in St. Louis City. St. Louis needs your leadership now more than ever. The urgency is real. The Republican Party, City of St. Louis can help you file, be your guiding force, and support you during the campaign. Contact stlouisrepublicans.com and step into your destiny.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Tim Jones here to tell you it's officially landscape lighting season at Pro Outdoor. To see some of their incredible lighting work, visit their website, prooutdoor.com. They offer low voltage landscape lighting that really makes your home stand out from your neighbors. If you're looking for accent lighting, path lighting, or wanting to expand your outdoor living space, or just looking for a little more security around your home, the team at Pro Outdoor are the ones to call. Pro Outdoor can take care of all your outdoor needs, including lawn fertilization, irrigation installation and service, as well as landscape lighting. They're offering some great end-of-year specials. Be sure to call them today. Schedule a consultation. That's prooutdoor.com.
On the next, Larry Connors, USA.
Vivek Ramaswamy giving his support to Donald Trump. Great. Now, what role will he play in the Trump victory and in the Trump campaign?
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, clipboards and lies.
Mhm.
That's what you can expect here. And remember, this is what I hope you remember, and I hope you tell all your family and your friends and your coworkers and your people at your church and people on your ball team, decline to sign.
Yes.
I don't care what it's for. I don't care what the petition is for. I'm declining to sign this time around.
Better
just,
safe.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, just to make sure. The next round for the battle of life, for
Mhm.
life,
Mhm.
in Missouri starts today. So here's what's happened, is a bunch of these extreme left-wing groups want to bring back abortion. And I'm very carefully choosing my words. These are not pro-choice. These are pro-abortion.
Yes.
Pro-death.
Yes.
Activists here. They had a variety of different referendums they filed with the state, and they were competing, and they were very, very different. Some of them were extreme to the point of absolutely no limit, abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. I mean, literally, partial birth abortion.
Permanently enshrined in the Constitution.
Right, 9-month abortion. They decided to not go with that one. I'm sure for a strategic reason, although I suspect that they all would probably support that.
Oh, gosh.
By the way, you can, don't forget our streaming app. I just want to remind everybody of that. Free. Find it on your app store. Download it, and you can take us anywhere that you want. Okay, so you're talking about groups like Planned Parenthood. You're talking about groups like the ACLU. You're talking about, that type of group. So in all, they had to figure out which of the 11 petitions would be used. And so they settled on one that would, if passed, let me just read from it here.
Yeah, please. Okay.
That it would, if passed, regulate the provision of abortion after fetal viability, provided that under no circumstance shall the government deny, interfere with, delay, or otherwise restrict an abortion that in the good faith judgment of a treating health care professional is needed to protect the life or physical or mental health of the pregnant person. So we got that.
We got that too. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, whatever it's determined to be fetal viability, then they say that the legislature could do something with it, but prior to that, so basically, definitely it would outlaw a heartbeat bill. I mean, it would outlaw what we have on the books right now.
Right.
And then, of course, the aspect of saying that a healthcare professional says it's needed to protect the life or physical or mental health of the pregnant person. Well, first of all, the exception for the life of the mother is already the law in Missouri.
Right.
When the media tells you that that doctors are afraid to do an abortion because there's an imminent threat to the life of the mother, that's just complete crap. And it's a lie because the law clearly states that if the mother's life is in danger, that is allowed.
It's also built on the false premise that abortion is a necessary procedure to save the life of mothers. Now, fetal death can be a side effect of certain treatments that protect the life of the mother, or it is presupposed, because in certain pregnancies, it's not even possible for the fetus to survive to begin with, because they're lodged in the wrong place or what have you. So all of that to say that they lie. They lie constantly, all the time. They obfuscate the truth at best because they misrepresent things that are true, or they just say things that are outright false in order to do this, which is why decline to sign is the way to go.
Absolutely. And of course, if you want to know the mindset of the people here behind this, just remember the term pregnant person.
Right.
Which
exactly.
I'm just going to constantly, it just shows you that these are extremists who are trying to put forth something that they are going to try to refer to as a compromise or moderate.
Right.
There shouldn't be any moderation in protecting an innocent life on this. So here's what's going on, is that this coalition is, they have, like everybody else, they have until May 5th to collect a little over 171,000 valid signatures from voters across the state. And they've got to do it in, multiple congressional districts as well. That's expensive to do. It's hard to do. They're going to have the full weight of, the ACLU. They're going to have the full weight of Planned Parenthood. They're going to have, all of these left-wing organizations.
Giant national organizations. Yep.
They're going to try to get that on the ballot. So when you go to any sort of community event or something as things warm up in April and March, probably going in and out of grocery stores or whatever the case is, strip malls, whatever, you're going to have people saying, hey, protect women's health.
Yes.
They're going to say some BS like that. Protect women. And so the best thing to do right now, and even listen, I know that there are some conservative groups that are saying, hey, we want a petition to do a good thing, and there may be some out there, but don't get in the weeds. Don't get on the spot. Feel like you have to make a decision. Is this a good or bad one? I don't know. Just decline to sign everything. A success this year is no citizen-led petitions on the ballot at all.
Yeah, and part of the thing here is there is no law against those signature takers,
the petitioners,
petitioners, completely lying to you.
Oh yeah.
There is no prohibition against them completely misleading you entirely about what it is you're signing.
They could walk up and say, "Well, no. This allows for some abortion bans." They could even walk up to you and say, "Hey, sign this pro-life petition."
Yeah,
they could do that.
That is
legal to do that.
Yes,
it's not a pro-life petition, obviously. So what it comes down to is a very simple, non-confrontational thing: is just get it through your head. No thanks.
Keep walking.
Just keep walking.
Yes.
Don't engage. Just keep going. Now, I also want to go back to the fact that they're getting such a late start, which is a good thing.
Yes.
This was tied up in courts because Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft and Attorney General Andrew Bailey both did legal maneuvers to delay this and keep this in court. You know, the ballot language that Jay wrote for this was never going to be accepted by a judge.
No.
And so it was prejudicial in every possible legal definition.
Mm-hmm.
It was accurate.
Yes.
It was true.
Yes. Yes.
And so I think Jay absolutely knew, just my guess, I think Jay absolutely knew that was going to be tossed out by a court. The point here was that it would, and also the state auditor as well. They said the cost to the state, and then what he did is he tried to calculate, here are all the people who are going to be killed if abortion becomes legal. Here's the economic activity they would have generated for the state. And so,
which is actually true.
Yeah,
I mean, but
yeah, I mean, is that person going to be born and live in Missouri, or are they going to go live in Nebraska?
Are they going to all be engineers, or
right?
Yeah.
So the whole point of all of that, and the media threw a fit, and it's funny because they were talking about how how these are frivolous and they were ridiculous and there's no way to judge. And I'm kind of going, well, yeah, but good Lord, you guys are missing the point on this. And I'm glad you are. I was kind of giggling at him. The point was, because this went to a judge who's left-leaning anyway.
Right.
So we knew what was going to be on the summary.
Mm-hmm.
But the point was to delay their start time.
Right. This was pure strategy.
Yeah. So they are going to be phenomenally aggressive in trying to get these signatures because they need a lot of them in a short amount of time. And it's going to cost close to $1 million to successfully run this. So let's waste their money. Let them get out there. Let's the longer because they'll know by this date they need this many. By this date they need this many, et cetera, et cetera. And so the harder we make it for them, the more resources they're going to have to waste on this, and the better our chances of that money not going into something else that could be winnable for them. Because if this gets on the ballot, don't kid yourself. It could pass.
Yeah.
It absolutely could pass.
That's kind of how it works in a lot of these referendum sort of states where basically you just need enough money. You just need enough time to trick people into doing things that they otherwise would not have gone for, that their legislatures certainly would not have gone for. So that's the strategy in red states by the pro-abortion people is to trick as many people as they can into enshrining something into the Constitution and making it almost impossible to dislodge from the baby killing machine.
Yeah, because if you get this on the ballot, then it takes. I looked up the successful ballot initiatives over the past few years, tried to adjust for inflation. It takes about $2.1 million to buy yourself a constitutional amendment in the state,
which organizations like Planned Parenthood have in space. I mean, it's tax money.
Yeah,
so they can use it for whatever they want.
Yeah. So get the word out, please. Decline to sign, decline to sign, decline to sign. Either tomorrow or next week. I'm going to invite our friends from Missouri Right to Life back on. This Sunday is Sanctity of Life Sunday. So can you imagine they're launching their petition drive the week of Sanctity of Life Sunday.
Yeah.
And so there will be people who leave church. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that all churches are pro-life. There's a lot of left churches out there.
Yes.
I don't know which God they're worshiping, but whatever. But they're going to go to, Applebee's or whatever. And then they're going to be confronted with these. And there are going to be people who leave a church that claims to be Christian and then go, sure, I'll sign the petition, and literally try to sign a petition that is essentially a death warrant for the innocent unborn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder if it would behoove us to contact pro-life organizations when we come upon these petitioners just to let them know, hey, you've got the enemy has taken the front of Walmart at
that's right,
at Lindbergh,
right? Yeah.
So that kind of thing. I don't know if they have any sort of anti-petition actions on tap, but maybe just
there's
let
a lot
them
of
know.
resources. Yeah. Google search Missouri Right to Life. There's a lot there, but decline to sign is the phrase of the day, and I think we need to remind ourselves of that. But it's really incumbent on you as well to make sure your family knows this, to make sure that your friends,
everybody close
your
to
friend
you.
group knows this. If you've got pro-life, anybody who's pro-life, go on social media, remind people, decline to sign because we are a pro-life state. After the Dobbs decision, Missouri literally became the first pro-life state in the country because we could. And so that is truly in danger right now. We do not want to lose our status. By the way, there's it's funny how the media likes to spin stuff. I'm looking at the Missouri Independent, which is a left-leaning news site. They claim to be true journalism, but they're not. So I'm reading their article on this, and it's funny, the writer that they have on this, who wrote the article, of course, they put at the bottom the blurb. This is their reproductive health care correspondent.
Oh, yes. There you go.
Yeah. And they say a competing Republican-led ballot initiative, which is also misleading, which started collecting signatures in November, is seeking to enshrine abortion rights in the Constitution up to 12 weeks. So this is the one that is, and I've met the woman who's doing this. Basically, her name's Jamie Corley. She used to be a staffer for a Republican in Washington, D.C., and she's donated her own money, and that's her only donation, and she's trying to make this look. Republicans are reasonable about this. Republicans will compromise too, and so media loves to say this is a Republican-led initiative, which is complete bull something that I can't say on the radio. It's one leftist Well, I don't know if she still claims to be a Republican or not, as it is.
Former Republican staffer. That's the closest association you got.
But the media tries to, what the messaging here is, hey, everybody's on board with this. You extremist, you're out of the loop. I mean, you're the one who's weird if you don't want to have some kind of abortion in Missouri. That's the messaging that they're sending on this, because this person I've spoken with, incredibly leftist on just about every social stuff you can imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't consider people who are like, well, I'm physically conservative, but socially, I actually don't. I have a tough time wrapping my head around how their ideology can balance those
now,
things.
I can be, and that may be an interesting thing we can talk about a little bit later on today too. That's just kind of popped in my head because, with me being pretty libertarian, I'm on a lot of stuff. I'm very permissive when it comes to adults doing stuff.
Sure.
But there's a difference between that and wanting a liberal approach to a lot of social things as well.
Yes, there is a big difference between those things.
It's a lot of nuance.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Can we handle nuance?
I don't know.
I think we proved yesterday that we can.
Well, yes, we can on this show.
And boy, if people could have heard our debate after in the halls up there.
Yeah, it continues. It continued off air.
One of these days we need to be like, go from here and then go right into the other studio and just do like a live podcast, follow-up thing.
Like an hour and a half.
314-912-1019. This is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Congratulations to everyone at Connor Roofing. We chose the Connor Roofing team for our National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction without telling anyone at Connor Roofing, based on over 30 years of fantastic customer reviews. Rob and Kathy Connor and their team deliver very high-quality roofing, siding, gutters, storm damage restoration at a fair price with integrity. Connor Roofing has had an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for years. Count on Connor. For an estimate, please visit connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
It's obvious. The unthinkable continues. Most Americans know something very wrong is happening. People in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. That's why self-reliant folks are investing in emergency food storage. And you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $200 on each 3-month food kit you purchase. My Patriot Supply also sells solar generators, gravity-powered water filters, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your items ship that same day and arrive quickly on your doorstep in unmarked boxes. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com today. Time is running out to prepare for what's coming. MyPatriotSupply.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
What's this?
This is Building Rome.
Building Rome. That's the name of the band or the song?
It's the name of the band.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, I haven't heard these guys.
Everything You've Never Wanted.
Oh, okay. I was like, just normally I know all the songs. I'm like, I don't know this one.
I was listening too. I was like, this is new. Yeah.
Hey, I want to get to this Cardinals Bally Sports Amazon Prime thing, because you might be watching the Cardinals on Amazon Prime TV.
Yeah.
Or not TV, but Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that here in just a minute. I want to follow up on something real quick. We had that discussion yesterday on getting real, about just talking about the politics and the culture and how media, especially conservative media, sort of tiptoes around things because, we're afraid of like making groups mad.
Right.
To be honest, we were talking about, the whole Trump MAGA thing and why we can't have honest disagreements within our own circles. And the reaction to that was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Because we had some reaction on Rumble. We had we had the one guy called in who just took umbrage at something I said, but that's the point.
Right. We need to be able to have the conversation to start it.
We need to be able to listen. I mean, I disagreed with what the guy said, but I understand what he said, which is something we don't a lot of times when we do. We don't want to understand what other people are saying within our own church. Listen, if somebody comes in and says, I think kids should be assumed to be transgender, before anything else, we need to promote it. I don't want to listen to your reasoning. I don't want to engage you in a conversation.
Right.
You're just evil. That's wrong. But within like a movement, where there are different factions and different beliefs, we should be able to do that.
Yes.
Okay. But what was fascinating is how many people just in the building came by and said, guys, that was really interesting stuff.
All right. Yeah.
So go back to the podcast and check that out. I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And also, we ended up, us and then our one of our bosses, Joe, we ended up following up and continuing that conversation. And we got into Stell, you and I got in some disagreements over some things. And it was very thought-provoking.
Right.
I mean, we probably even got more intense in our disagreements off the air than we even did here. But Stell did not throw anything at me. And he was a collegiate baseball player, and he did not throw anything at me.
But when you pulled out your bat, I moved back a little.
Hey, if you see my batting average, you wouldn't worry about it. But like our boss Joe challenged me on something, and I was able to answer his questions. The point goes, okay, well, you've got your reasons. So that's the kind of stuff that I think we kind of ran that as a test thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be afraid to have those conversations. Now that doesn't mean that just because I like one candidate over the other two candidates, I'm going to go picking on the other two.
Right.
But I'm just going to call balls and strikes as I see it on all of them. And so I just wanted to follow that up and thank everybody for engaging the way that they did.
Oh yeah.
And I would say probably half the calls that we've had in the past couple of weeks have been people who disagree with me or disagree with us.
Yes. And that makes for very interesting conversation.
Keep doing that.
Yes.
You agree? I want those calls too. But I truly mean thank you to the people who have called to challenge us on it. All right.
And we will continue with as many baseball analogies as we come up with.
Well, it's funny. On Rumble right now, Smoozy Q, a.k.a. Susie Moore from Red State, she said, I don't see any black eyes, so that's good. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay, speaking of baseball analogies and stuff, where the Cardinals, eventually the Blues, are going to be on TV is a question that just remains unanswered right now. Okay, so yeah, we're going to start this as Cardinals and Blues, but this is like how media is changing and how we are changing how we consume stuff. I mean, it's sports now, but it's everything else. It shows that old media may just not be adapting to the new market.
Yeah. It's slow to adapt. We'll say.
Yeah, exactly. They're being forced to do it. By the way, Illinois' education system is woke, but it's not teaching kids to read. We're going to talk about that at 7:05. Okay, so Amazon is buying into Diamond, which owns Bally Sports.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm trying not to get distracted. Fox Sports Midwest was purchased by Bally Sports, and then they're
many things.
Yeah, they're doing NHL and NBA and Major League Baseball and all this kind of stuff. Well, they're in bankruptcy right now. They're in protective bankruptcy, including. I mean, this is the group that does the Cardinals baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's and Blues baseball games. That's what matters to us.
Yeah.
And so one of the things being considered with this purchase, because they think that Amazon's purchase could get Diamond, a.k.a. Bally, out of bankruptcy because they'd have enough to pay off enough of their debts and that sort of thing. Part of it could be that the games, local games, could be watched on your Amazon Prime TV.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but a lot of people, because I saw that, I'm like, great, we've got Prime.
Yeah, same.
But it would not be included with your current subscription. You'd have to pay a premium.
It's a step up kind of thing.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like having the premium subscriptions on cable?
Right.
It's basically the same thing. Wait a minute.
Yeah. But here's the thing is when it comes to the marketplace, the way that we watch stuff, how many times have we decided that we subscribe to a streaming channel for one show? And then we go, I'm not doing that. I think the market really wants a la carte program.
Yes, it does.
I mean, that's like our podcasts are pretty darn popular, and radio would not even mention the word podcast for years because we're like, oh, that's competition. And then somebody finally said, maybe we should start doing that.
Yeah, we could actually enter this market.
Yeah, so we do that. I mean, my little interview based newsy, not quite public affairs show, American Viewpoints. Sometime this week, it's going to pass 25,000 all-time downloads. So that's where you can take the conversation anywhere you want. Like this right now, I'm watching your comments and hopefully listening to your comments live. But then you can check this out as a podcast later.
Yeah.
So the marketplace wants on-demand listing for TV and sports and things like that. MLB Network could easily solve this if they would just let people watch their local team.
Yeah.
If they said you could watch the Cardinals here in St. Louis, I would subscribe to MLB TV right now.
Now, is that a problem with the way they do TV, or a way or a contract that they have with the MLB?
It's contract because what happens is like Diamond and Bally, they don't want MLB selling their subscriptions because it's like $250 a year, and then be able to watch your local team when they're spending millions to have the exclusive rights to the Cardinals in St. Louis.
Okay. So I thought it was more like the MLB wants you to go to the stadium and they say you're going to miss out because
they do want that too.
Okay.
But Diamond and Bally are losing money on this. So the market's speaking. Are they going to listen? The answer is, I don't know. Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. At least 7 deaths are linked to fallen trees or suspected hypothermia, result of ice-laden winter storms that have been sweeping the Pacific Northwest this week.
Rick Graves of Portland Fire and Rescue in Oregon tells KGW that shortly before noon Wednesday, 2 adults and a teenager were killed when they got out of their SUV.
The weather brought down a branch, a significant sized branch from a tree over the top, and it took down a live electrical wire.
Officials say the 3 appear to have been electrocuted. They say a child was saved when a person who lives in the area grabbed the 2-year-old from one of the people lying in the street. As much as 1 inch of ice added to the damage caused by a powerful storm that hit over the weekend. I'm Donna Warder.
Former President Trump not slowing down after attending court yesterday in New York, where he's the target of a defamation lawsuit. Mr. Trump flew to New Hampshire for a rally in Portsmouth. State's GOP primary now just 5 days away. The U.S. has again launched missiles at Iranian-backed rebels in Yemen. The strike comes after the rebels attacked an American ship in the Red Sea. GOP Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas says the U.S. and its allies have to get serious about halting the Houthi rebel attacks.
The only thing that's going to put an end to these attacks on Americans and our friends and partners in the region is a devastating strike against Yemen, and increasingly it looks like it will have to be against Iranians as well.
Cotton speaking with the Salem Radio Network's Hugh Hewitt. Pakistan retaliating for yesterday's deadly attack by Iran. Pakistan's Air Force says it hit terrorist hideouts in Iran. That's similar to how Iran justified its attacks on targets inside of Pakistan. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures down 72 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. This is why so many people are joining MediShare right now. MediShare is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly health care costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. MediShare can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A near normal chilly night, low down to 23. A few flurries are possible in the morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 36. Dry for much of the day, but let's watch for some light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Mainly around 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Could see a dusting to an inch. Not a whole lot, but even light accumulations can make for some tricky travel. It'll end before the Friday morning dry, but let's watch for any slick spots that continue. Then Friday, cold air just blasts in here. A low of 11 and a high of 16. A windy day. Wind chills in the morning down to minus 10 to minus 20. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
When you go shopping, you may not get the bargain you want, but at least you know and can compare prices. It should be that way with healthcare, but too often it's not. Need an operation on your knee? Want to know what it's going to cost? Good luck. For 3 years, hospitals have been required to provide patients with list prices and have negotiated charges for some 300 services. Only 36%, just over a third, are fully compliant. In Missouri, prices differ greatly depending on a patient's insurance. The cost of a pelvic CT scan, for example, can be 20 times more expensive in one hospital than another. Price transparency allows patients to compare providers, forces hospitals to compete on price, and helps insurers negotiate lower rates. State law should require all healthcare providers to publish prices in a user-friendly form. What we don't know is costing us. The price of healthcare shouldn't be a secret. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at ShowMeInstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin Rob.
All right, paying kids a few bucks to go to school. I'm sure that's good education.
Yeah, of course.
Policy, right?
Yeah, because it's not as though education is valuable on its own.
Right. And if a kid really doesn't want to be there, here's the equivalent of a couple bucks a day. I'm sure that'll be like, okay, give me the study hall after class. I'm all about it.
Gosh.
And then also the idea that in Illinois, because there's a national group that's kind of, assessing how well schools are doing on this little thing called reading.
Oh my gosh! The basis
Right.
of learning,
what's required for every other piece of learning.
Yeah.
Not doing so well in Illinois.
Okay, so the building blocks of education not well constructed in Illinois.
No, but I'm sure most kids in Illinois public schools are going to know what thems are. By the way, did your bank dig through your purchases at the behest of the federal government?
I saw a lot of this.
This is infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time that the feds have done something like this. We're going to update you on what we're finding out now at 7:20. So remember all the leftists who threw a fit over the committee on the weaponization of the government?
Mm-hmm.
What they were afraid of is that they would find exactly what they're finding.
Yes.
So right now, kudos to Jim Jordan and his folks for finding what they're finding. You need to know this. We'll talk about it at 7:20. It is 7:07 right now. Okay, so in Illinois, they're getting some feedback from a national group that says, let's look at how well you're teaching kids to read in your public education system. Not doing so hot.
No,
on the Illinois side of our listening area. And then a little bit later on in another state, they literally want to say, come on, kids, you need to be in school. Here's money.
So stupid.
Daryl Jones from the Herzog Foundation joins us right now. And Daryl, let's start here locally with what's happening in Illinois. National group is looking at basically we're looking at results, actual education, reading, clearly the single foundation for every other kind of education, and they're falling flat in the state of Illinois. What are the results so far?
Well, it's really true. We've run a couple of stories. We run between 10 and 15 stories every single day at readlion.com. Read, R-E-A-D, readlion.com. The Lion is roaring about 10 or 15 times a day, talking about what's going on in K through 12 education across the state. It's incredible. We talk about the best in Christian schools. We talk about what's going on in the public schools. And we ran an article this week about the National Council on Teacher Quality is giving Illinois a poor rating on policies that support reading instruction. I mean, certainly the results of students in Illinois public schools is less than stellar. The report says 38% of Illinois fourth graders could not read at a basic level. When you break it down into different demographics, 51% of Hispanic students cannot read at a basic level in Illinois, and of black students, 62% cannot read at a basic level, and low-income families in low-income communities at 55% cannot read at the basic level. And so the National Council on Teacher Quality is saying, what is going on? And they're looking at 5 basic policy needs that every school district needs in order to perform at the optimal level for students to be able to read. And of the 5 necessary policies, Illinois is weak or non-existent in at least 2 of those policies. And so certainly it's great that someone is flagging it. I mean, honestly, it's something that we all know. The National Report Card, revealed just a couple of months ago, less than stellar performance happening academically in schools, in public schools across the country, and certainly right there where you guys are, right across the state line in Illinois. it's very sobering that the lack of foundational education that students are excelling in.
Yeah, but I'm guarantee you that through the Illinois public education system, they're going to know what non-binary means at some point.
That's the thing. What are we focused on and what are we not focused on? And it's almost like we don't have the eye on the ball unless there is a greater agenda that's being driven. That's merely speculation. I mean, that's conspiracy theory right there. But it is startling that what you would think would be happening in classrooms. I mean, honestly, as a product of K-12, public education, the things that were insisted on me are clearly not being insisted in 2024.
Morning, Daryl. Gabe here. So how do the defenders of the public education system spin this so that it's not as big of a disaster as we apparently see that it is? Because it seems that their lone defense is just, well, we need more money. But how do you square that circle?
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, it's a matter. Spin is the right word. I mean, it's a matter of let's not address the real issue. It has to be funding. Although, again, when you look at the last 20 years of what has education funding done across the country and what have test scores shown across the country, the divide is only getting greater between the rising cost of education and the lower production of education that's quantifiable in classrooms across the country. The education lobby would say it's all about we need more funding, but the reality is there's funding that's not producing basic, as you said, Mike, a basic foundation for academics, which is the importance of reading, and it's Illinois, but it's across the country.
One thing that just kind of popped in my head while you and Gabe were discussing Gabe's question there is, an ignorant generation is an easily controlled generation.
Yeah.
There is no question about that. There's no question about that. And, that's unless the only reason that this could continue is if there's a larger agenda that's at play. And if families can be consoled into, hey, this is normal, this is average, this is what's supposed to be happening, don't get worked up. But the reality is, families across the country are getting worked up. Parents are, the millennial generation is highly involved in parenting. They're very much engaged in the welfare of their kids and in the events and the activities of their children. And the idea that, you're going to sweep it under the rug isn't happening. In fact, what we're seeing is families that are revolting across the country and making waves for state legislators to do something about it and to give them as families options and alternatives to the public education product. And we're seeing it across the country where states are making sweeping changes, bold moves to give parents state dollars for the education of their kids, which bleeds into, you had referenced it, Mike, in the state of Ohio, they're now paying students to go to school. Where was this 30 years ago when I couldn't use this? You know what I mean? Where were these policies then? But realistically, so this is better funding. We need more funding so that we can pay children to go to school. At some point, are we looking at a model of education that is archaic? And honestly, we're finding across the country that certainly in Christian schools, we're finding that there are so many new models for education where for less dollars, fewer dollars, test scores are rising, students are doing very well, national merit scholars being recognized, doing well at collegiate levels as a result of a K-12 private, certainly a Christian education.
Now, Daryl, I can't help but look at the juxtaposition between my early ancestors who were risking imprisonment and death and punishment for learning to read, and then the current generation of my own people who are saying, well, if you pay me $500, I might show up to class.
Yeah, right.
It's a very sad commentary on where our society has come, and I don't know what started us on this path, but it feels as though it's however it got started, it's accelerated in recent years.
Oh, for sure. And, whether it comes down to funding, right? So if state schools, if schools are receiving state and federal dollars based on their attendance, then, yeah, they are looking at it as a financial issue, which I guess ultimately, they're feeling it. But, when the test scores, continue to show a failing product, that's very concerning. It's concerning for parents and for grandparents across the country. And, here at the Herzog Foundation, we want to help those families find accessible alternatives. And we believe that in the Christian education arena across the country, a growing arena, I might add, it's interesting that as folks are exiting out of public education, there are not enough seats in Christian schools across the country to absorb the demand. The supply and the demand is not equal, and it's amazing. It's a revolution that's going on in education, where families are saying this product is no longer viable and it's not acceptable for our children, and we want better for them.
You know what amazes me I'm sorry. I say, what amazes me, Daryl, is because my kids went to a Christian school. And they, what amazes me is how many people are like, yeah, I'd love to do that, but there's no way I could afford it. They don't even bother to call and ask and find out, because there are some schools that are far more affordable than you would think, and there are scholarship programs. And it always amazes me that how many times somebody would say, yeah, next this coming school year, I'd love to send my kid to a Christian school. I really hate what's happening in the public schools, but we just can't afford it. Oh, by the way, got to go. We're going to do a week and a half in Bermuda. And so they'll spend enough on one week's vacation. They would spend enough to send their kids to an entire year of a Christian school.
That is so well said, Mike. And Gabe, I love the conversation. The dollars of it, the dollars and cents of education, and what we're seeing statistically across the country is that Christian schools are able to produce a high quality, academic, rigorous outcome at much more affordable prices, oftentimes using a different model of education. But you're right, it really comes down to what society values. What do we value? And at the point that we value education, and we are seeing it across the country, where there's just this big exodus that's going on, and certainly among families, with students in classrooms. But it's interesting to see the exodus of teachers from the public system that are leaving as well. And that's a whole other topic. And, we've written articles in readlion.com about that interesting phenomenon as well. But it's systemic. The whole system is just not adequate for families and for students today.
Yep. All right. We're going to give out the website information here in a second. Just a couple comments on Rumble, guys. Lunch Lady says they were paying kids to attend summer school over 20 years ago. My son declined. Good for him. And some guy named Larry Connors, he just said, remember a few decades ago, St. Louis was offering TVs to kids attending certain numbers of days of school as well. So, by the way, Larry Connors, you can get great information from him, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock every day here on News Talk STL. And I think in Kansas City, I wanted to say in your neck of the woods, I think they actually at least debated that, I want to say about 10, 15 years ago, but I don't remember that anything came of it, because if it did, it failed.
Well, I think it'll be interesting when the student union in Ohio begins to say, "Hey, $500 a year is not enough for me to come to school." And so, then you have these negotiations on what exactly the student needs to be paid, because the cost for the education is not sufficient to bring them there.
Exactly.
It's a broken system, guys, and it's really unfortunate and frightening for civilizations, for society as a whole, moving forward. But that's where the Herzog Foundation is here to help families find alternative forms of education. And we believe the Christian education sphere is a growing growing environment and there's a place for you and for your children as well.
All right, then the website real quick, Daryl. Daryl, the website real quick. Oh, did we lose Daryl?
No, he's there. I heard his phone.
I think we lost Daryl. Okay,
and
just
you can
look.
find out
Oh,
more
there he is.
at
Oh, there it is.
HerzogFoundation.com.
All right,
There you
great.
go.
And then, of course, Read Lion. I encourage people to subscribe to Read Lion as well, because there are a lot of stories in there. All right, Daryl, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for the update.
Thanks, Daryl.
All right, 314-912-1019. All right.
He says you're welcome.
Okay.
Oh, it's a super delay all of a sudden, yeah.
All right, just ahead here. Okay, you're when I say you're not going to believe what the feds are doing, well, yeah, you probably will. This is serious, guys.
Yes.
I mean, this is serious. Is your bank spying or surveilling you at the behest of the federal government, who says, hey, do a sweep through your debit or credit card purchases? If these terms came up, you may need to turn them in. No warrant, no probable cause, just let's start looking for people because they have wrong think. This is really serious.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this at right around 7:23 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
Before you blow us all
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Have you ever noticed in the Godfather movies, whenever you see oranges, it means death, or at least something really bad? We'll discuss that on Porcelli's Deli Thursday at 10:25.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
With Old Man Winter blowing into the heartland, let me tell you, Hanson's Tree Service is here to help. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. Look them up 24/7 at hansonstree.com. Do you have any tree problems at your home or your business? Overhanging branches? Have Hanson's and the gang take them down professionally so Old Man Winter doesn't. What about organic mulch? Hanson's Tree has got that in bulk. It'll save you in price and time, incredibly convenient. Protect all those assets you've got in the ground, and have Hanson's take care of everything above the ground for you as well. Get them out to your homestead or your business right now. hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and SouthernArmory.com. That's SouthernArmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at SouthernArmory.com.
Columbo and Katie.
Dr. Bob Onder.
I think there are different lessons to be taken away from each race. I would say about political campaigns, it's important to remember, although it would seem sometimes the times are with you, the issues are with you, the state of affairs are with you. Sometimes winning elections is about simple blocking and tackling, fundraising, getting out the vote.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
Hey everybody, it's Rob Carter. Join me on Sunday nights as I challenge our politicians, expose the political press, and analyze pop culture. It's the Rob Carter Show on Sunday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Now let's get back to the best men's league over 40 backstop in St. Louis. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Just a reminder to everybody, starting on Monday, the 29th of this month, Rob Carter Show going to 5 nights a week right here on News Talk STL. He's going to be on from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock right after Larry Connors. So that is I said it yesterday, I'm saying it again today. I'm really excited about this addition to our lineup.
I am so looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Now, he's going to be on just as I'm getting ready to go to bed, but I'm catching it afterwards. I'll catch the first little bit. Rob's going to be in next week with us to kind of give us a preview of the show.
All right.
He's going from 1 night a week to 5 nights a week, which is a great thing. And I want to thank everybody who's part of the News Talk family, and that's you who's listening right now or watching right now. Because the fact that you all have responded so well to our local shows here that we're able to expand them and just have more of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting. So thank you very much for that. Okay, the congressional committee charged with oversight of the federal government and especially of the weaponization of government, they now say there is evidence showing that the feds are using your bank to surveil Americans, to surveil you without a warrant. Going to love the details on this one, and when I say you're going to love, I mean you're actually going to hate this. Speaking of Congress, the deal to extend the government spending and avoid a shutdown under fire for very good reasons. It may actually be a plan to expand illegal immigration by bipartisan decree.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, we're going to have the update on that at 7:35, so about 9 minutes from right now. It's 7:26. Okay, so how about this? You want to go fishing with a new reel you bought from Cabela's and read that brand new Bible that you bought from like Lifeway or whatever it is? Well, then you're an extremist. You're a possible lone wolf terrorist shooter.
Oh, my gosh.
I wish I were kidding about this.
No, yeah, you're not. And I know
that's
you're
what the
not.
hater-in-chief would say, as I'm now calling.
The hater-in-chief, yeah.
Yeah, the guy who resides at 1600 Pennsylvania.
Joey B.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Here's what they are finding. And I've got a clip here from Congressman Jim Jordan, who's overseeing the committee on the weaponization of government. He was on, I believe it was Cavuto's show that he was on last night.
At the request of government, you got banks searching private transactions of their customers for key search terms, key words. It looks like without any warrants, without any legal process. And what were those keywords they were searching? Did they purchase religious texts? Did they shop at Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop?
Okay, so here's what's going on. The subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government, which is part of the House Judiciary Committee, here's what they have found. And they say they've got documents showing this now, that federal law enforcement agencies are going to banks and either partnering or just telling them to flag transactions. So your debit card, your credit card, if you're buying something with your checking account, something in there with terms like Trump, with terms like MAGA. So you're buying from a MAGA store. Also monitor transactions from stores like Cabela's and Bass Pro Shop and Dick's Sporting Goods. Okay. Other purchases they wanted them to look for have to do with religious texts, like if you were looking to buy Bibles or Torah or religious books and things like that. And they say this is all under the guise of preventing terrorism.
It's amazing. It really is. It's almost like they took Barack Obama's declaration of the about the bitter clingers to God and guns, and they took that as marching orders in order to look for the bad guys in America.
Yeah. So there's a couple of aspects to this. One, let's get to the content side of the words that they were saying to look for. I want to get to that in a minute.
Yes.
That makes it worse.
Yes, true.
What makes it really bad
is that it exists at all.
Well, that it exists, but first of all, there's no warrant. There's no there's no reasonable suspicion. There's no for cause. What they're doing is saying a blanket search without a warrant, and they're taking the private sector and saying, we want you to do this and then report it to us, on a pseudo voluntary basis. But when the regulators who run you and can shut you down say, I want you to do this, listen, your banks are spineless. They're going to do it.
Yes.
The people who run the banking industry, they are lapdogs for the federal government. They're told to jump. They just say how high, to use that cliche. So the fact that they're saying sweep through, and this has been done hundreds of thousands of times, and then tell us if any of these keywords pop up and then report them to us, because they could possibly be somebody to worry about. Now, what makes it worse is that it's clearly targeting us.
Yes.
So if you are let's say a Nikki Haley supporter,
Mm-hmm.
you are more moderate, you don't like Donald Trump, you don't like Ron DeSantis, doesn't matter. The fact that they are saying, look for people who are making purchases or transactions with these words, and those words are political and they are expression and they are religious. The fact that your government is doing that to target people based on ideology or personal beliefs or personal political outlook should scare the absolute crap out of you.
This is the type of thing that makes me even more solidified in my position that I think the administrative state needs to be completely dismantled,
Yep.
like top to bottom. I don't think at this point, reform in the traditional sense is possible.
Yeah.
Where you sift through, you weed out the bad apples, and you do this. This is the type of thing that is an indicator that it is rotten to the core.
Right.
You have to cut it out and put something new in its place.
Or replace it with nothing.
Right. There are some things that we could probably survive without.
Right. I do want, obviously, some, intelligence to try to ward off terrorism groups. And there are terrorist groups here in the United States, but that's not what this does.
Right.
What's happened here as an ideologically driven hard left, led by the Biden administration, has simply said, our opponents are dangerous based on what they believe and how they disagree with us. Let's start finding ways to go after them. And one of the ways to do that, as they've been doing for years, is target people based on political beliefs. They also were looking for things that purchases that had to do with January 6th with the riots at the Capitol as well. So if you're buying, a T-shirt, that is, a pro-Trump January 6th T-shirt or whatever the case is, has nothing to do with whether what you think of January 6th. If you are buying one of those free the J6 prisoners or whatever the case is, that's getting flagged. Okay, makes no difference who agrees or disagrees with you on this. The fact that you are buying something in order to express your viewpoint could get you landed on a potential terrorism list is really bad. Now, if you say, Mike, I'm not worried about it. I mean, they can know that what I think. Good. I'm glad they know. Guess what happens when you try to fly somewhere next time? Sir, can you step aside? We're doing a bigger search.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're on a no-fly list. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't tell me that. You just can't get on that plane.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You want to apply for this job here that could be a contractor job or something with the federal government? No, sorry. You got rejected by the system.
When the government makes lists, it's always a bad thing.
Every time.
There's pretty much no good list to be on for the government, especially if we're talking about the law enforcement and intelligence apparatus. If you are on a list for those guys, it's always bad.
If you ended up on a list after an investigation caused because of crime committed, well, that's the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about here.
Exactly. This is a blanket. This is a net that was thrown out, that was cast out with the worst criteria ever, the dumbest criteria ever, and it's going to catch a lot of people in that grip, and who knows what they're going to decide to do to those people.
You know what words I have not seen in any of the reports that reported on this? The words that they were saying, hey, scan for these. I never saw Antifa. I never saw Black Lives Matter. I never saw George Floyd. I never saw Derek Chauvin. I never saw any of those.
Yep.
But we saw Bible. We saw stuff like that. Yeah. That's your federal government, folks.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A near normal chilly night, low down to 23. A few flurries are possible in the morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 36. Dry for much of the day, but let's watch for some light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Mainly around 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Could see a dusting to an inch. Not a whole lot, but even light accumulations can make for some tricky travel. It'll end before the Friday morning dry, but let's watch for any slick spots that continue. Then Friday, cold air just blasts in here. A low of 11 and a high of 16. A windy day. Wind chills in the morning down to -10 to -20. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
I got an email which brought a smile. A woman named Mary wrote me, "We are purchasing a new roof from John Beal based on your recommendation." I thanked her then. I do it again now. Mary, I only endorse clients I believe in, and I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. It's all about trust. So if, like Mary, you need John Beal, trust me. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
An Indiana middle school was not going to let a transgender girl use the boys' bathroom. Final, period, not going to happen. Well, she and her parents, of course, immediately filed a lawsuit, and numerous appeals and lawsuits continued, reaching all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And now the Supreme Court denying the petition for review. No justices dissented. The court did not explain its decision. So now the decision not getting involved means other lawsuits will continue, with judges reaching obviously differing conclusions. It's going to be a mess for some time to come. And it's all because the high court decided to not rule on this one. The court has ruled on various transgender cases in the past, but has also sidestepped around some if it involved transgender young people. What all this does do is remind me of something years ago. Years ago, when I was teaching students to become journalists, I was stressing to them, you have to recognize the meaning of words. I had to constantly remind them there's a difference between the words gender and sex. Gender is your biological sex. Sex is, well, if you're old enough to be in my class and you don't know, call your parents.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Is your family prepared for the financial burden of losing a loved one?
Are you aware of the cost of a funeral?
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for lifetime permanent final expense insurance coverage with no medical exam required.
Just answer a few health questions, and once accepted, your rates never increase.
Do you have diabetes? High blood pressure?
Have you had a heart attack? A stroke?
No problem.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial can help protect your legacy.
Call or text 314-866-8886. That's 314-866-8886.
To learn more about permanent lifetime final expense insurance coverage.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for immediate coverage by answering just a few health questions.
Call or text 314-866-8886. Or learn more at memorialplans.com. That's memorialplans.com.
Policies underwritten by Senior Life Insurance Company, not available in all states.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I don't know where I would get the truth if it weren't for you.
Live and local.
Welcome to the People's Republic of America stand. Here comes another roller coaster, another circus.
This is News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Little Revolution Saints for you.
Yeah, it is.
Thursday. I love this band. Kind of a super group.
Light in the Dark is the name of the song.
Yeah. That's Dean Castronova, former drummer for Journey singing.
Mm-hmm.
On bass, that's Jack Blades from Night Ranger, and that is Doug Aldrich from like every band ever. If you went to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra show, you probably saw Doug Aldrich perform. Yeah. All right, we should probably do some like newsy stuff here. Okay, so if the federal government shuts down, conservatives are going to be blamed. We know that because the deadline's coming up here. But if the GOP agrees to the Schumer-Lankford deal, are they actually agreeing to more illegal immigration? This is a bizarre agreement that they're trying to work off of as kind of the base right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. It's 7:39 right now. By the way, News Talk STL's podcast, our on-demand listening. Find us at newstalkstl.com or whatever podcast platform you prefer. We are there. Just look up News Talk STL. Please hit the subscribe. Okay, so have you heard about this Chuck Schumer, the Schumer-Lankford deal? and Langford being a Republican U.S. Senator out of Oklahoma, if I remember right. And so they are trying to come up with at least a short-term spending plan. And when it comes to the illegal immigration problem, this deal would essentially exacerbate it based on what we know. I'm joined now by Eric Ruart from Numbers USA. And so, Eric, let's start with kind of the core of where Schumer and Langford came to a deal and what they were trying to say, okay, let's do this on the southern border, because I think a lot of conservatives, they weren't really caught off guard because Schumer wanted this, but Langford's pretty conservative, and this is a weird deal that he tried to come up with that a lot of conservatives are pushing back on.
Well, you're right in the fact that the deal that they've negotiated would continue what's going on at the border, and essentially it would rubber stamp what the president's policies were. Now, it does put a limit, and this is what's sort of interesting when you look at what they're saying here is we will allow 5,000 people a day to come over illegally before we get worried about securing the border. And they're trusting Secretary Mayorkas, who has shown no inclination whatsoever to stop illegal immigration, to, after you get to that 5,000 person a day illegally crossing, to say, hold on, we're no more, which is, here's what it comes down to, essentially is Senator Langford wants money for Ukraine, and so he's going to work with the White House to pretend to do something at the border in order to get that. The problem is, number one, well, the obvious problem is it doesn't do anything to secure the border. But the other thing is the House GOP is saying no. Speaker Johnson has said this is absolutely not. We're not going to take this deal. And so they're going to have to come up with something else. And hopefully what we see them renegotiate is something that addresses the crisis, because this, and not only are they allowing illegal immigration with this deal, they're going to raise the number of green cards that they're giving out by 50,000, and they're going to give work permits to guest workers, the children of people who are here on H-1B guest worker visas. They're going to give their children work permits. So the ultimate rationale here is to just bring in as many people into the country to work, right? Mm-hmm. And that's really what's behind this deal.
By the way, 5,000 a day comes out to 1.825 million illegal immigrants in a year.
Oh my gosh! Good morning, Eric. Gay Pfeiffer here. For more context too. I mean, Mike already gave us context for that $5,000 a day or 5,000 illegal immigrants crossings per day threshold. But what about this 50,000 per year green card increase? What's a typical number of green cards that that the U.S. issues?
The U.S. Issues 1 million, a little over. But since we go back to 1990, which is when immigration was really expanded to where it is today, and it's 1 million a year green cards that we give out.
By the way, okay, to follow up on that, we're visiting with Eric Ruart from Numbers USA. Green cards go to people who are here legally. So is this separate from the illegal immigration question, or is there something in this that would allow people in the country illegally to access things that are set aside for those in the country legally?
That is a good question. We haven't seen the final language, so we don't know how exactly those green cards are going to be allocated. But the argument for people who who say we need more immigration is the problem that we face is we don't allow enough people to come. And so the way to deal with illegal immigration is, and Nikki Haley has made this argument on the campaign trail, we stop illegal immigration by letting everyone who wants to get in, who wants to work, right? And so this is sort of, it's not letting everyone in, but they are going to give work authorization. And this is, giving green cards out is a lifetime work permit, to anyone who receives it, right? Because they become basically, beyond being able to vote or to serve on a jury, they have all the rights and responsibilities of a U.S. citizen. But what's really, really bad about what Langford has negotiated with Schumer in the White House is they're going to allow people to come across the border illegally and give them work authorization. And that's why most people are coming. to the United States is to work, right? They're not fleeing persecution or war-torn situations. They're coming because they want opportunities in the United States, which is a very rational and reasonable cost to come, right? Because they think they're going to have a better life in the United States. But that's not a reason to admit everyone who wants to come. So what they're going to do with people, the 5,000 a day, is release them and give them work authorization, which is in contradiction to what is the current law. Because you can't, if you're an inadmissible alien, you're not allowed to have work authorization. So this bill would change that. And so you're not only adding 50,000 green cards, you're going to also add all 1.8 million people a year who are illegally in the country, but are authorized by the government to work.
Yeah, so Nikki Haley's buying into part of the AOC logic on that.
Yeah, exactly. If you make them legal, then they're not illegal aliens anymore, right? But
and that's a bipartisan argument.
Apparently, yeah. Well, we'll say bipartisan in quotes. But Eric, one of the things that I'm worried about is that there isn't really a competing bill. There is not a competing proposal on the table. I'm thankful that Speaker Johnson has declared that this is DOA. I'm very glad for that. But is there any legislation? Is there any ideas about what to do about the border problem right now as a competing solution to the crisis we have at hand?
Because the deadline is tomorrow to have something, and so there's a lot of pressure on that from what Gabe was just saying there, Eric.
Well, there is. This is the good thing. There is actually a competing bill. It's H.R. 2. It's the Secure the Border Act, which was passed by the House back in May and introduced into the Senate by Senator Cruz. I believe at this point there's 31 co-sponsors of that bill. But it's easy to sign on to a bill when you don't think it's going to pass in the Senate. But the House has the power of the purse. And so they're the ones who basically control the funding. And there is a fight coming up, as you said. There's a continuing resolution. It's been reported they're going to sort of kick the can down the road again. But at some point, they need to fund the Biden administration and essentially their policies at the border. And so the fight's going to come down to whether or not the House GOP is going to stand by H.R. 2, which would curtail what's going on, or are the Republicans going to go with, and Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate, has basically told Republicans in the Senate to support Langford's deal, whatever it is. And so that's really, the fight is more going to be within the Republican caucus in Congress about whether or not they're going to rubber stamp what's going on, or they're actually going to use the leverage that they have to secure the border and to hold the administration to account. And there's Ukraine funding for Israel. There's other priorities that the White House has. And basically they're using border security as a bargaining chip. And, our position at Numbers USA is border security is non-negotiable. You either secure the border or you don't. And that's the argument we need to have, not what you're going to trade the illusion of border security for.
All right, Eric Ruart, Numbers USA. Let's go ahead and give the website, social media information out so people can connect and follow what you're doing.
NumbersUSA.com. And if you go there, there's an action board right at the top, and you can let your representative know that H.R. 2, vote for H.R. 2, secure the border. Bad deals are not going to do it.
All right, 314-912-1019. Love to get your thoughts on this. Eric, thanks so much for the update. Sobering numbers, but all the attention's going to be on, oh my goodness, the government's going to shut down, instead of, hey, some of our elected officials are starting to develop a backbone on the border issue. All right. Thanks again, Eric. Appreciate it. All right. NumbersUSA.com. All right. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
It's a new year, so come check out the great financing offers going on now at Seavers JCB. Rates as low as 0.99% on nearly all JCB compact construction equipment, including the industry-leading JCB Teleskid. For details, go to SeaversJCB.com. Mini excavators, track loaders, small wheel loaders, and even the industry-leading JCB compact load all range. Seavers JCB has them all. Visit SeaversJCB.com for more information.
Hey, it's Columbo and Katie inviting you to join us, plus Mark Close and a whole bunch of our musical friends, Saturday, January 27th at Westport Playhouse.
Our band, Mark's band, and Lenny Mink will be joined by some very special guests for an awesome night of music for a great cause. All proceeds go to Thrive St. Louis. Get your tickets now at westportplay.com and join us for a great party January 27th at Westport Playhouse. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet.
Tickets on sale now at westportplay.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL.
Gabe, I should have asked you about this a minute ago, but what we were talking about just off the air a second ago, can we bring that back up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because one of the things because your experience has been an experience that I've had with friends and some people I would not consider friends anymore. But if you want to talk to somebody who really can't stand an illegal alien, who do you talk to?
A legal immigrant.
A legal immigrant.
Absolutely.
And you've obviously got very personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, look, so just the way the process worked, and Janet is Canadian, so
Janet being his wife,
my wife, my wife. So we had to look up all this, all the information. Okay, how does this work? What forms do you have to fill out? What can't do? We found out that because we got married in Canada, where all her family was, I wasn't going to drag her down here and make her family kind of come down. So we got married in Canada. So there is a process by which you get a visa so you can actually enter the country, even though you are married to a U.S. citizen. And that process took about 6 months and required that she travel to the nearest consulate, which was in Vancouver at the time. So she had to fly. So there's money and all kinds of paperwork and stuff like that. She finally got into the country, and then she experiences what she would call the her non-personhood phase, where basically she was allowed to be in America, but she couldn't do anything in America. She didn't have a social security number. She didn't have work authorization and things like that. She just had the visa that said she was allowed to have crossed the border and live with me. So that was pretty much it. So we had to go through all the paperwork fill outs and the fees and the wait time for processing before she could get any of that stuff, get a license, get work authorization. And now what the proposal on the table is at our Congress or our Senate is this idea that you could just walk across the border and somebody's there to shake your hand and hand you a work permit.
Yeah.
And it's such garbage. It is so infuriating that there are those of us who actually care about this stuff, who actually go through the process. She went through the full process to gain her citizenship so she can vote for people now to just hand out stuff that she worked for.
Yeah.
That's such garbage.
And it's the injustice, and tomorrow is the supposed deadline for the federal government to not be able to spend any more money. When you hear media say they're going to run out of money, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
They got plenty of money. That's not the issue, but they need to come up with another bill to keep spending on stuff. The world is not going to end if we have the government shutdown I've been hoping for years now.
We've been through this before. Right. It's not that bad.
They're going to come up with something. It's going to happen. And if they shut down for 24 hours on Monday or 12 hours on Monday until a deal is made, then whatever. But the fact that this is the holdup shows you the values and the priorities of the left.
Yeah.
That they say it is so important that we not secure the border, that we try to run to catch these illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, just to hand them their papers so we can claim they're legal is a bizarre value system, and that's what they are prioritizing over everything else.
And speaking of trying to keep track of the aliens, how about the situation in Texas at Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, where Governor Abbott has essentially had the state of Texas take over the park and kick out the Border Patrol and say, hey, we're taking over here because you guys have screwed the whole thing up. Well, it's not the Border Patrol's fault.
It's not the Border Patrol,
It's the Biden administration's fault. But still, he's saying, you guys are out. We're taking it over. It'll be interesting to see how this situation progresses.
Yeah, because the federal government's already suing Abbott and the state of Texas over other things that they're doing, their new laws and all that kind of stuff. And I imagine the Border Patrol guys were like probably wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Oh, gee,
no.
we're upset about this. Because the Border Patrol agents,
they are so frustrated.
They can only do what they're allowed to do, and the Biden administration isn't allowing them to do the job that they're capable of doing.
Those guys might have been saying, thank goodness you're finally here.
Right.
Yeah.
They had to say, we've got orders, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh, gee, you're pushing us out because you're going to actually do it. And, at one point I saw a video of Texas National Guard showing up with riot shields. And, as these illegals are climbing through the barbed wire and the razor, they got the shields like, you really want to try it? And some of them were yelling at him and everything. And some of them, I don't know what the end result was. They backed away. They probably came through somewhere else a little bit later.
Yeah.
But there's at least an effort to do that. And there are people who look at those who are defending our nation and going, how cruel. How could you possibly do that? Look at that. They're willing to crawl through barbed wire. That's how bad they want to be here. Yeah, why do they want to be here? What do they value so much that they're willing to crawl through barbed wire instead of respecting our nation and going through the right process?
Right.
Well, for some of them, because I noticed a whole bunch of young men is who was doing it. There wasn't a single woman or child in the video that I saw. So what is it that they're looking to do? Some of them definitely want to work. I mean, I'm no question about that. But some of them, we just don't know, do we?
Here's the thing. If you are willing to cross a desert and crawl through barbed wire in order to get into our country, why aren't you willing to fill out some freaking paperwork?
Yeah.
Like what is there should be a difference there. There should be a red flag about that idea. It's like I want to be in your country so badly, I'm willing to break all your laws and risk death across the desert in order to get there. It's like why don't you just ask?
Yeah. There's the front door. Wait your turn.
Why don't you get in line?
Right.
It's like do you really value our country, or are you valuing something else?
They do not value the country.
Exactly.
Okay, so I just want to remind everybody that immigration policy, this is one of the key differences between somebody who's conservative and somebody who's a leftist, is that immigration policy is to benefit one entity, and that's our nation.
Absolutely.
Nobody has a right to come here. This is one of the few areas where the state has the authority to say you can come in and you can come out. Now, we've got the most generous legal immigration system in the world. Saying illegals aren't welcome here is a good thing.
Tim Jones here to tell you it's officially landscape lighting season at Pro Outdoor. To see some of their incredible lighting work, visit their website, prooutdoor.com. They offer low voltage landscape lighting that really makes your home stand out from your neighbors. If you're looking for accent lighting, path lighting, or wanting to expand your outdoor living space, or just looking for a little more security around your home, the team at Pro Outdoor are the ones to call. Pro Outdoor can take care of all your outdoor needs, including lawn fertilization, irrigation installation and service, as well as landscape lighting. They're offering some great end-of-year specials. Be sure to call them today. Schedule a consultation. That's prooutdoor.com.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with Clayman Group, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct and as-is condition with no middleman involved. I recently bought a house from somebody that was embarrassed to let me in the door. There was stuff all over the place and the entire house smelled like smoke. However, we were definitely able to see the potential. We gave them a great cash offer that they were very happy with. So if you have a house that isn't in the best shape, maybe in some disrepair, we're interested in making you an as-is cash offer. Please reach out today, KLAMEN Group.com.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Hi, everybody. It's your buddy Todd Showalter along with my buddy Joey V from The Right Mind Show. You know how they always say, new year, new me? Well, we don't say any of those stupid things here. But you know what? Every week we do have a new guest right here on The Right Mind Show. Isn't that right, Joey V?
Stop being so stupid and forgetful. Put it on your calendar. Saturdays, 5 p.m., Right Mind Show. Get in your car. Don't drive anywhere. Just look at the radio until sound comes out.
And if you do miss a show because you're watching Matlock at that time, make sure to tune in to rightmindshow.com. That's rightmindshow.com for all the show replays. And plus, what better things do you have to do on a Saturday at 5 o'clock?
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The U.S. military has launched another missile barrage against Iran-backed rebel targets in Yemen.
The wave of ship and submarine-launched missile strikes against Houthi locations marks the fourth time in days the U.S. has directly targeted the group as violence that ignited in the wake of the Israel-Hamas war continues to spill over in the Middle East. The strikes were launched from the Red Sea and hit targets the command deemed an imminent threat. The hits followed an official announcement on Wednesday that the U.S. has put the Houthis back on its list of specially designated global terrorists. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
It didn't take Pakistan long to retaliate for Iran's attack on targets inside Pakistan. The Pakistani Air Force has bombed what are said to be terrorist hideouts in Iran. A couple of Republican lawmakers think that New Mexico's Democrat governor is ripe for impeachment, running afoul of the Second Amendment.
Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham invoked emergency public health orders last year, suspending the right to carry firearms in some public places in greater Albuquerque, such as parks and playgrounds. The order was in response to a spate of gun violence. Now Republican Representatives Stephanie Lord and John Block have filed a resolution aimed at initiating impeachment proceedings against Lujan Grisham. The Republicans say the governor has violated her oath of office to uphold state and federal constitutions. Lord says the governor has too much power and is acting like a dictator. I'm Donna Warder.
From the Midwest to the Northeast, forecasters warn that more wintry weather could make travel challenging in the coming few days. Boston, New York, Washington, D.C., among the major East Coast cities, could be in for measurable snowfall before the end of the week. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down 74 points. NASDAQ futures up 124. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
John Solomon provides exclusive reporting and newsmaker interviews on John Solomon Reports on the Salem Podcast Network.
We broke this story because we got the documents early. They put out this new information, and it affirms our reporting that this Democrat donor gave about $5 million or more in assistance to Hunter Biden. Basically paid off his bills.
Subscribe to John Solomon Reports today on Apple, Spotify, Google, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A near normal chilly night, low down to 23. A few flurries are possible in the morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 36. Dry for much of the day, but let's watch for some light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Mainly around 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Could see a dusting to an inch. Not a whole lot, but even light accumulations can make for some tricky travel. It'll end before the Friday morning dry, but let's watch for any slick spots that continue. Then Friday, cold air just blasts in here. A low of 11 and a high of 16. A windy day. Wind chills in the morning down to minus 10 to minus 20. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. Our primary goal is to advance Christian education so that families and culture flourish. The legacy of Stan's business career centers around making national transit ecosystems accessible and sustainable. Likewise, the legacy of Stan's philanthropy centers around making the ecosystems of Christian education more accessible and sustainable for families across the nation. Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more about our programs, including trainings, scholarships, conferences, news, and our podcast, Making the Leap.
Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more and sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. HerzogFoundation.com.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Clipboards and lies.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you can expect. Starting today, the far left is going to start their petition drive to try to overturn Missouri's pro-life laws. Let's talk about it. 314-912-1019. Just ahead, we've also got our news roundup. And then at 8:35, I'm just telling you right now, I normally don't tease that far ahead, but the federal government is using your bank to try to surveil people based on ideology, based on what you're buying.
This is so disgusting.
And it's not the first time that something like this has happened.
Sure.
But they are trying to, and they have been apparently, commissioning banks to violate the Constitution and look for people to target. It's not even targeting people that they know they don't like. It's, hey, sweep through these records and tell us who we should target.
It's kind of amazing.
8:35, excuse me. We'll get into that. It is 8:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stelp Montigas here. Okay, so Sunday is Sanctity of Life Sunday. If you haven't already asked your church to contact Thrive to talk about the Day of Compassion, and they would love to work with your church, have a speaker out there, or at least send some resources so that your church can help those who are in a crisis pregnancy center because they value life so much. Not a political thing. They just value life so much. At least put it in your bulletin. So if somebody knows somebody who's in a crisis pregnancy and they're tempted to go to Planned Parenthood to get their referral over to the Illinois side, of course, churches on the Illinois side too definitely should be doing this. Then what they can do is say, hey, contact Thrive and go from there. So I bring up Sanctity of Life Sunday because this is the week that the hard left has chosen to launch their petition drive to bring abortion back to Missouri. On Sanctity of Life Sunday. Of course, they would look at Sanctity of Life Sunday as something that's heretical to their gods, whatever it is that they're, whatever Moloch, Baal,
yes,
God that they're worshiping,
Satan.
Yeah, pretty much. So here's where we're at. We need to remind people and have this conversation about decline to sign. And so I could spend the next 7 minutes railing on how awful what they're doing is. I could do that.
But we know that. Yeah.
So now let's talk strategic approach to this.
Yes.
And this isn't just what are the consultants going to do? What is Missouri Right to Life going to do? What is the Missouri Life League going to do? That's not that's all part of it, sure. But it's what will each and every one of us do because we have a hand in this.
Right.
So that's why what I hope you'll do is look towards the decline to sign messaging and exacerbate that and push that out there. Very simply decline to sign. And what that means is 'tis the season for ballot referendums.
Yes.
People with the little clipboards everywhere. Hey, sign this petition too. Now, there's a variety of those. There's all kinds of groups that want to put something on the ballot.
Everybody wants something.
Everybody wants to put something on the ballot because
Yeah.
in Missouri, it's relatively easy compared to other states to change your state constitution because our threshold is so low. For a couple $1 million, you can generally buy yourself a constitutional amendment.
Which is sick to begin
Right.
with, but that kind of is what it is. That's what history has shown. That's all you need to get enough advertising, enough signature takers, and get this thing through.
About $2.1 to $2.3 million. That's what it looks like. So here's where time is actually on our side, and they've got until May 5th to come up with a little bit over 171,000 valid voter signatures.
Right.
Okay.
So that means taking way above that, by the way.
Right.
Because of,
invalid
signatures and invalid methodology, things like that. There's always kind of this drawdown.
Right.
They always have to get more in order to meet that threshold.
Right. Exactly. So when I say time is on our side, because they've only got till May 5th to turn these in.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, of course, there's weeks of verification, and then they decide, whether or not they met the threshold or not. And then, there are people who are there, they can challenge the signatures and all that sort of thing. So that's a relatively short amount of time to get this many signatures. It can be done with professional petitioners.
Right.
Which
costs money.
Professional petitioners cost money because they're very good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They travel around the country. They get paid a certain amount per valid signature that they bring in, sometimes just signature that they bring in,
Mm-hmm.
but they're very good about getting this. And these are hired guns. They don't really care what they're petitioning for. This is how they make their living.
Right.
I know this because I've employed them before when I used to work for Bob Barr. We hired in firms to come in and do petitions to try to get him on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had conservatives, we had leftists, they didn't care. They just wanted to get a paycheck, and they were very effective.
They're political mercenaries.
They're mercenaries, right? And you know what? I don't even say that in a derogatory way. It's what they do for a living. It's some of the OG gig work back in the day. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So here's where we're going with this, is that because they've only got until May 5th. So here we are in the middle of January, so middle of March.
Mm-hmm.
Middle of February, middle of March, middle of April.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking at about 3.5 months.
3.5, yeah.
For 171,000 valid signatures, which
Mm-hmm.
means they really need to bring in about 250,000 signatures.
Yes.
There's only 6 million people in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing, is in the St. Louis and Kansas City areas, because you have to have a certain number of signatures per congressional district, they're going to meet their numbers in St. Louis.
Probably. Yeah, in the city, yes.
Right. Where they're going to try to meet those everywhere else is that you're going to go into the shopping mall, you're going to go in the grocery store, you're going to go in the movie theater, you're going to go to the community event, the fair, the whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and there's going to be somebody with a clipboard. Hey, sign this to protect women's health.
Yep.
Hey, sign this to whatever, and they're going to make up anything they want to say to get you to sign that clipboard. So the best thing we can do right now is just have it in our mindset, have it in our conversations, make the understanding, decline to sign. It doesn't matter what they've got on that clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is, hey, no thanks, I'm moving on with my day, and just keep going.
Yeah.
And please encourage everybody to have that in mind as well, and just say, listen, this is important. What you have to do is literally nothing.
Right.
Just simply keep walking, and we need to slow this petition process down as much as we can.
This is similar to our entreaty to you to be prepared when somebody says put a mask on, right? It's like this is your individual action. This is your individual time to shine to affect the world around you. You're actually going to make a difference. In this case, it's even more clear the difference you can make because you declining to sign every single time, you affecting other people in their in keeping them from signing as well, it may very well prevent this atrocity from getting into the Missouri Constitution.
Yeah. And because we know from some of the leftists, the only way they can get stuff done is putting on the statewide ballot.
Yes.
Of course, the left in the media, they're saying, are you afraid of the voters? Let the voters have a say. We're not talking about tax rates.
Right.
We're not talking about a regulation. And of course, bad decisions have been made by voters that we've had to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you can blame dishonest campaigns, like what was the one with the
for weed?
No, not the weed. Well, there was a bad one with weed.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another one before that's escaping me right now.
Clean Missouri?
Clean Missouri.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. That's that was terrible. And we had to go back and put it back on the ballot and fix it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is that Clean Missouri and the Right to Work ones and all of those that have gone the left's favor, we know that about $2 million, $1.75 to $2.1 million of a campaign will win that for you.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have to tell the truth.
Right.
In those. All we can do is call out the lies. So in this one right here, Missouri Right to Life and many others, they've got graphics up on their website, their social media, decline to sign. But the most important thing you can do is look at your social media, whatever you're following is your circles. You may say, well, I don't know that many people. Hey, what if you know 10 or 12 people that would go, oh, okay, yeah, I won't sign. That's fine. Thanks for giving me the heads up.
Mm-hmm.
And there are thousands of people listening to us right now.
Yeah.
If the majority of that happens, you've made a massive, massive difference. All it takes is for the people do not want to see unlimited abortion in the state or any elective abortion in this state, then just simply stand up enough to tell those who will listen to what you have to say, hey, guys, this year, no matter what's on that clipboard, just be safe. Just decline to sign.
Absolutely. And that's the only safe way to go about this. I know there may or may not be some conservative groups out there who are like, no, but we wanted to get this really good thing on the ballot. This isn't the year for that.
Yeah, do it a couple years down the road.
Do it later.
Yeah. And I know that there are some people who are cooking up some ones like I said, and I've talked to one of those groups that has a very good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just talked to him face to face and said, guys, this isn't the year. It's so much more important to make sure that we don't allow elective abortion back in Missouri. And by the way, for those who are going to say, oh, but Missouri's ban is extreme and we've got to at least allow for the life of the mother to be protected. That is the Missouri law right now.
That's already the law.
Anybody who tells you that is lying.
Absolutely.
Full on lying, which they are, as you pointed out, Gabe, allowed to do.
They're allowed to do it. They're allowed to deceive you. And what we're telling you is simply don't bother engaging. Just say, when they come up to the clipboard and they say, hey, would you like to sign to protect pregnant women?
Right.
They may say something like that.
Or according to the actual proposal, pregnant person.
Pregnant person.
That's actually what they want to write in the state constitution. Pregnant person.
Yes, to start all that garbage too.
Yeah.
So don't even bother engaging. Don't even get into the conversation because that may draw a crowd.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now they've got more opportunities to get more signatures. Just say no thanks. Keep walking.
And
it's very simple.
Go about your day. Don't try to convert them. Don't try to change their mind. They may agree with us.
Yeah.
But they're there to do a job.
They're mercenaries. They in that instance, that person has no ideological loyalty to anything.
Right.
They're simply there doing their job to acquire signatures in order to make money. So don't try and convince them of anything. You won't.
Right. Yeah. That's the great advice, Gabe. Don't engage.
Mm-hmm.
Just simply say, oh, no, thanks, and just keep going. Because when that happens, what they do is they turn around, they look for the next person.
Yeah.
They're not going to chase you.
Right.
To do that. But hopefully we make it the norm that people just say, oh, no, thanks, and keep going. I'm not looking for fights. I'm not looking for confrontations. And by the way, every single pastor should be as part of Sanctity of Life Sunday. If you've got the guts to actually talk about this this coming Sunday, you should be telling your congregation, decline to sign. And there's somebody who goes, no, our church doesn't do politics. This isn't about politics. I agree that churches should stay out of politics.
Yes.
Partisan politics.
Yes.
This is a very clear life and death issue.
This is a human rights issue.
You're not telling people how to vote. You're just saying, please decline to sign this.
Right. If it's 1860 and he's like, hey, we have a petition for the Fugitive Slave Act here. Why don't you sign it? If you weren't, if you say, well, I would have been the pastor to say, no, don't do this. Well, this is the modern equivalent.
Right. All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL at 8:35. Okay, this is massive here. We're now finding out that the federal government is commissioning banks to look for conservatives and others on the right to target based on what you believe, whether it's your faith or your political outlet. I'll explain at 8:35.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up,
all know the healthcare system's broken. It's not about you. It's about the code, the bill, the 7-minute appointment. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I've developed a better way that restores old-fashioned values with a holistic approach to your healthcare. That means affordable, available, no copay or deductible primary care. And with my 30-plus years as an OBGYN, there's added value for women and couples. Whether it's a new or nagging problem, you need a second look at a troubling diagnosis, or simply want a trusting, relationship-based healthcare experience, give us a look at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Our mission is to provide exceptional, accessible, and truly affordable care where the focus is on you, not insurance denial and cookbook medicine experts. And with your membership, there's a number of perks, including hundreds of free meds, in-office ultrasound, common diagnostic tests, and more. Interested in seeing me or learning more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule an appointment or a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey.
In the state of Missouri, we have a tool at our disposal to fight back. We have a statute on the books that makes it a felony offense to knowingly transport criminal alien through the state of Missouri. That's an enormous deterrent effect against drug traffickers and human traffickers. And we need to use that statute to make sure we're enforcing the laws and preventing this invasion from negatively impacting Missouri further.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary. But that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, seriously, Gabe, the bass line in the song,
yeah,
awesome.
Yes, it is.
I love that. Then the guy starts singing and he kind of ruins it. But this is really good. Check this out.
It is good. That's good stuff right there.
And then, like I said, he's going to start singing in a second, and then we can go ahead and fade out when that happens. You'll see what I mean. Here we go. See? Yeah.
Dang it.
All right. Okay.
Ruins it.
The chorus isn't too bad. It's typical, like, glam 80s rock stuff.
Yeah,
all
but
right.
those bass licks, ooh, boy.
That was awesome.
Those are nice.
Yep. Okay, remember, just a reminder, Decline to Sign, Coalition of Pro-Abortion Organization, launching their petition drive today in hopes of putting a referendum on the ballot that would, if approved by voters, bring elective abortion back to Missouri. That's just a quick follow-up. Talk to your friends, put Decline to Sign on your social media, tell people. And by the way, you should be asking your church if on this Sanctity of Life Sunday, if they are going to remind people not to sign these petitions that are out there.
Yeah.
All right. Check this out. If you decided to, let's say this, you want to read your Bible on your fishing trip, a brand new Bible that you just bought, okay? And you decide to go on a fishing trip because you just bought something from like Cabela's or Bass Pro Shops. The feds likely know about it. You extremist.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, here's what's going on. Federal investigators have asked, and I say asked in quotes, they've instructed banks to filter your transactions based on search terms. So in other words, when you buy something on your debit card, there's something, the store name,
sure.
I don't know that the product is going to be listed in there, but a lot of times the store name is going to be there.
Or some code related to it.
Some code. Yeah, like for instance, firearms codes,
Mm-hmm.
which are part of this as well. We're going to go into more depth at 8:35, but let me just give you a little taste of it here. Some members of Congress, especially those on the subcommittee looking at the weaponization of government, are crying foul on this for good reason. Congressman Jim Jordan was on Larry Kudlow's show last night to explain what they have learned about what the federal government has been and is doing by commissioning banks to do the surveillance for them.
At the request of government, you got banks searching private transactions of their customers for key search terms, key words. It looks like without any warrants, without any legal process. And what were those keywords they were searching? Did they purchase religious texts? Did they shop at Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop?
And there were so many others, which we're going to get to at 8:35, because I am telling you right now, most of the people listening to this program right now, you have likely made some kind of purchase that would put you at risk from being swept up in that digital dragnet. They're looking for people to target, and that, Gabe, is not hyperbole. It's what we now know is happening.
They're leveraging people's exercise of their First and Second Amendment rights in order to violate their Fourth Amendment.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So more details on that at 8:35. You definitely want the details on this. All right. Okay. It's been just about 100 days since Hamas attacked Israel and provoked that war that Israel's now engaged in for its survival. Speaker Mike Johnson led a candlelight vigil on the U.S. House steps yesterday, commemorating those first 100 days since that attack happened.
This attack, the first of its kind since the Holocaust, came because of anti-Jewish hatred, and it is our duty to call out this evil. If we don't condemn it, if we don't understand what brought it about, if we don't look at it and call it what it is, then anti-Semitic forces will continue to their global rampage unabated.
Have you noticed that in the discussion over the war in Gaza and in Israel, first of all, it's falling off the headlines because, you know what, we go on to the next shiny thing in the news. That's just the American mindset. We have the attention span of a fruit fly. And that's falling off because it's not the new thing anymore. Mm-hmm. But in the absence of that void is being filled by the anti-Semitic left. I mean, case in point, this week, St. Louis County Council meeting, 30 pro-Hamas protesters showed up at the county council meeting demanding a ceasefire resolution, which is an anti-Israeli resolution.
It is. Because the thing is, I stand by this presupposition. If you believe in justice, if you believe in protecting children from war, what you should be calling for is the complete and unconditional surrender of Hamas.
Yeah.
That is the actual way to end the conflict. That's the actual way to protect even Palestinian children from the side effects of war. Hamas needs to surrender because they need to be brought to justice for the crimes they committed.
But these are not people who value human life.
Exactly. That's an excuse that they used in order to say things that could ostensibly be sort of looked at as not particularly anti-Semitic when really it is. It clearly is.
I mean, every one of those pro-Hamas / pro-Palestine protesters, you're an anti-Semitic bigot. That's my message to you.
Yep. Prove me otherwise.
Right. Bring it on. All right. Other things happening in politics. There was supposed to be a debate today.
Yeah, that's right.
that was scheduled to happen.
It was.
It had been on the books for a long time. Ron DeSantis had a town hall in Hampton, New Hampshire last night ahead of Tuesday's presidential primary there. The governor calling out both Donald Trump and Nikki Haley because both of them are refusing to debate him now ahead of that primary. And Ron DeSantis is pointing out that, this is likely what the new normal is for this election year.
Trump's not going to do any debates in the primary. Haley's not going to do any debates in the primary. And then in the general, what are the chances that Joe Biden would agree to debate me? Probably close to zero. That's not going to happen.
Okay, two things, Gabe. One, I don't think Joe Biden's debating anybody this time around. I'll be shocked if there's a general election debate. And, of course, CNN and ABC News, in partnership with the local media in New Hampshire, canceled those debates after Nikki Haley said she refused to debate Ron DeSantis. And, of course, Donald Trump isn't debating his opponents at all. And so that's just off the table. I don't know how much difference a debate would make nationally right now, but in New Hampshire, the way they take their politics personally, it would make some difference. Now, if you look at the polls, Ron DeSantis is way behind Trump and Haley in the polls in New Hampshire, not so much in other states. So Nikki Haley, doesn't want any part of Ron DeSantis, especially after that last debate those two had. I mean, she didn't want any part of him.
No, I don't think so. And it makes me think, at this point, are we not going to have any debates in this election year?
You mean in the general election?
No, I like from now on, are any debates going to happen?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No,
This is the first time I've stopped to actually think about that. Just like, yeah, we're probably done with debating. That last debate, DeSantis Haley, that was the last one of this year.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, unless, DeSantis can bring out some other leftist to debate them like he did with Newsom.
He just drag him out, start curb stomping him.
Right. I don't know that's, and when you get the general election, I mean, there's no way the Democrats are going to let Joe Biden
oh gosh, no.
be on a debate stage with any of those three. There's no way. No way. I mean, if they end up nominating somebody else, which is when a bunch of theories are flying around, then somebody else might.
Possibly.
But they're not putting Joe Biden on a debate stage with Trump. They're not putting him on a debate stage with Haley. They're definitely not putting him on a debate stage with DeSantis.
Oh, no.
Not a chance.
I wonder if that Newsom was a preview of the debate we could be having.
They were testing, if not now in 2028, they were testing the waters, and I think they went, ooh, we're not ready.
We're not ready.
That was bad. I mean, even the leftists are like, yeah, that was a slam dunk job by DeSantis.
And it was interesting to see the last couple of days, Trump welcoming Vivek at one of his speeches, and also Doug Burgum.
Right.
Very complimentary comments to Doug, as in, I'm keeping you in mind for a possible administration position. You might want to clear up your schedule a little bit. So it just seemed that way when they were interacting during his speech.
Yeah. Trump is assuming a lot of things haven't happened yet.
But he's getting ready, which he was not ready in 2016. Now he's ready. Now he's got a ground game going, and he's shown that in Iowa, and we're seeing it in New Hampshire. And so things are much more organized than they were last time, because it was pretty haphazard back in 2016.
A particular weakness of the 2016 Trump administration was the personnel that he put into place, right? Obviously,
because he was trusting other people to make good recommendations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we should bring in so-and-so and so-and-so.
Well, but also
not really.
Keep in mind, Donald Trump wants to be surrounded by people who are 100% loyal to him personally.
Yeah, that's fine.
He doesn't want people to challenge him or tell him no or say,
"Oh, I disagree." He'll take challenges in meetings.
I've
seen video in meetings where people push back to him.
Anybody who still works for him?
Well, not now, because he hasn't been in office for 4 years.
I'm saying, but he values loyalty to himself. That's
but between 2016 and 2020, there were meetings where I saw video of people pushing back, and they had good discussions like we have here.
Yeah.
And then they would go ahead and move on. But yeah, a lot of those folks are gone,
right?
Because they were not good hires at the beginning, but some of them are still with him.
There seems to be areas where he'll take some not criticism. He
won't take criticism at all.
He'll take perspectives, but I don't think he'll take criticism. And I think that's one of the key. You have to know how to handle him, basically.
Yeah.
So that may prove
you push
difficult.
back too much, he's throwing you under the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way he is. I mean, it's just we've known that for decades. And we've particularly seen that in the last couple of years as well.
I disagree, but that's fine. I disagree. There are some, where he said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, we're done." But there are others who have pushed back, and he feels a real he feels a real camaraderie with them, and he'll keep them on. That's okay. That's fine.
I haven't seen any of those. It's just a personality trait of Trump.
They're still around.
Oh man,
you may see them pop up.
I'd love to know who that is, because I don't know who that is. All right, real quick here. Blues are back in action tonight. This time on the road for a game against the Capitals. Game time 6:00 our time. The Blues are 21-19-1 on the season so far. All right, just ahead here. I would say you're going to be shocked at what the federal government's doing, but you're not. But something has been exposed, and they are looking for people to target based on your political and your cultural and your ideological and your religious views. I'll give you the update to right around 8:36 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
That's a pretty long list.
Yeah.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A near normal chilly night, low down to 23. A few flurries are possible in the morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 36. Dry for much of the day, but let's watch for some light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Mainly around 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Could see a dusting to an inch. Not a whole lot, but even light accumulations can make for some tricky travel. It'll end before the Friday morning dry, but let's watch for any slick spots that continue. Then Friday, cold air just blasting blasts in here. A low of 11 and a high of 16. A windy day. Wind chills in the morning down to -10 to -20. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Temple.
Fox News commentary.
Some students are flat out refusing to pay back their student loans in protest. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
1 in 10 student loan borrowers say they're refusing to make payments as a form of protest. According to a survey by Intelligent.com, 25% of those surveyed admitted they have not made any payments at all, and 9% of those say they are not making payments in a deliberate effort to pressure the government into student loan forgiveness. You've got to be kidding me. If you take out the loan, you pay back the loan. You don't get to refuse to pay it back as a protest. You don't get to boycott your bills. I swear, if these are the young people you all are out there raising, we are in deep trouble. The greatest generation stormed beaches, fought for freedom, sacrificed and risked their lives for this nation. Also, whiny students could sit on their thumbs and moan about paying back the loans that they voluntarily took out to get their worthless gender studies and psychology degrees? Unbelievable. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Question: do you know what vermiculite is? It is an insulation in the attics of hundreds of thousands of homes and public buildings. Looks like kitty litter, but often contains asbestos. Wellington Environmental is the largest company in the Midwest that can remove that hazard for you. Wellington has what is called the General, a powerful industrial vacuum that can suck vermiculite out of the attic. Hang on, there's something else you should know. Many of you might qualify for up to a $4,000 rebate. You should at least contact Wellington to see if you qualify. And here's something else. Wellington arrives at the time they give you, not sometime within 4 hours. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world. Cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Federal government is going to banks and saying, hey, you do the sweeps and you do the searches through all of your customers' transactions in order to tell us who we should be targeting based on this. It's really bad. Been done hundreds of thousands of times, according to the committee that is looking into the weaponization of government. We're going to get to that here in just about 60 seconds or so. I'm Mike Ferguson. It's 8:37. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. Okay, real quick. We were talking about the decline to sign.
Yes.
We mentioned that in the last segment and a little bit before that. Mike is on the line with us here. Mike, what's your thought on that? Appreciate you being on part of the show.
Okay, well, all I can say to you is that I was involved in signatures for a audit for a particular municipality that'll go unnamed. It's based on the election of the governor and how many people voted. Now, that's what they required us. And if you're below 1,000, you have to have 25% of the registered voters, 1,000 to 499, 15%. Roughly, it's a minimum of 200 votes. So what I did, and another person who lived in the the municipality, we went around door to door and we gathered signatures. And our only question we asked, we want to have an audit, and are you a registered voter? Some of them signed it and said, no, I'm not a registered voter, but I want to sign it. So we let them sign it. So we gave the petition to the state, and we had roughly about 240 signatures. They gave us the audit, and I'm telling you right now, Mike, and it's just my opinion, they didn't care if they were registered voters or not.
By Missouri law, they have to be registered voters, and the Secretary of State's office is to send that to every county where they are in. They are supposed to sign off on a verification by Missouri law.
I understand that, but see, the people who get the signature, and I don't want to be argumentative about this, but the people who get those signatures, do you really think they're going to sit there and look out John Doe? He lives in this municipality. Is he a registered voter?
Oh, yeah, no, they're not doing that.
No, yeah, we know that. That's what we were saying.
The ones I hired didn't do that.
Well, yeah, what we were saying is that the signature takers don't care.
No.
But it's supposed to go to somebody who does care.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope that that's a true fact. But in my case, I don't believe that occurred. But only because I went out and actually got the signatures. And I knew that many of them were not voters in that particular municipality.
Yeah.
And I went outside of the municipality at a shopping mall and got signatures from people who I didn't know who they were at all, and they signed it. And I said, I just want to get an audit for the municipality. So
Sure.
I believe that many of the signatures, they were not registered voters. They still gave us the audit. And this was 10 days before the election. And what prompted this was, since I was on the board and elected, I asked to look at the computer system.
Yeah. Yep.
And they refused.
Yeah.
And I'm elected by the people in that particular municipality. When they did that, I said, okay, well, let's going to see what's inside your books. They kept me out of in there, and their excuse was, if you touch the computer system and you don't know enough about it, you may delete valuable information. And if you come into the office, we're going to have you arrested.
Oh
yeah, that's that's not how things work.
Right.
Yep.
So we got the audit, found out that they were a bunch of crooks. Never mind, I ain't going.
I get it. No, Mike. Hey, thanks for being on the part of the program here. Yeah, I appreciate it, because it's a really complicated thing there. Because that's why when you do a petition, like if you need to get 171,000 plus change signatures on that, their goal is to get 350,000.
Right. Yeah.
Because they assume that a bunch of those are going to be filtered out.
Right. Exactly. And we've seen that a few times in the way it goes. They have a count of how many they submitted and an account of how many actually were considered valid, and we do know that those numbers are different. So somebody's checking along the way. We'll see how it goes this time.
Okay, I want to get to this story that we've had over the last that's come up in the last 24 hours. But this has been something that Jim Jordan's subcommittee on weaponization of government.
Yeah,
they are now coming across information that they say shows that the federal government, Department of Justice, that they are not even targeting us for our known political or religious views. They're asking the banks to tell them who to target. That's the way I interpret this, Gabe.
Oh, yeah.
So what's happening here is that Jim Jordan says that what they're learning, and they're calling in people for testimony on this, is what they are finding out is that the federal government has gone to different banks, and what they have said is, we want you to look through the transactions. Do basically, for lack of a better term, Gabe, keyword searches.
Yes.
So when you buy something, there's a transaction, you spent $38.11, whatever, approved, and then there's a vendor name.
Yeah.
That's you go to the restaurant, you buy something, it's $38.11, and it was at ABC Restaurant.
Right.
It's all right there. So what they're looking for are patterns.
Mm-hmm.
If you went to Cabela's, Bass Pro, Dick's Sporting Goods, they want that flagged.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why? Because you buy firearms at most of those places. I think Dick's Sporting Goods, is getting out of firearms.
Yeah, they recently, but at least they've removed their assault rifles.
Right. But
Whatever.
they've also asked for those codes, those firearm codes in the transaction.
Yes, those are built in.
But they also said look for, and some of the other key words that came up were Trump, were MAGA, for purchases of religious texts, including Bibles.
Right.
And so what you have here is a federal government that is saying, banks, we don't have a warrant, we don't have probable cause, we don't have reasonable suspicion, but we want you to do the keyword search. And if there's anybody who hits enough of these patterns, then we want to you to flag them and tell us about them. So basically they're saying, based on people who are conservative, people who are religious, and nothing else, we're thinking that might be a potential candidate to be a lone wolf shooter. I'm using their words.
Yeah.
And a possible terrorist. So that's what the Biden administration's Department of Justice and federal law enforcement thinks of you.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me this idea that your free exercise of your religious freedom. That's number one, Amendment 1. Your free exercise of your Second Amendment freedom, your ability to purchase and keep and bear arms. That's number 2. And they're saying, hey, if you exercise 1 and 2 in a way that we don't like, we're going to violate number 4. Yeah. We're going to illegally search your purchase histories and then put you onto various government lists. And there's nothing good about a government list, especially from an intelligence or a law enforcement agency.
Okay, so Jim Jordan's released a letter he has sent to one of the key people in the federal law enforcement community who oversees the program that was used for this, saying we want you to come in for an interview before this hearing. Whether or not he's going to do it or not, we'll see. They may have to subpoena him. But if that happens, this should be the headline news everywhere.
Yes.
Now, whether it is or not, I don't know. But they're using a particular program that's designed to look for organized crime and terrorism. And so the Biden administration is directing banks. And by the way, your bank and your credit union basically are bootlickers for the federal regulators.
Oh, they're pets to the government.
Yeah. And so they're told by the federal government, do this search on your own.
Yeah.
It's not an order. We just really want you to do it and then report back to us. They're going to maybe argue, well, we didn't issue an order. It's not unconstitutional. They volunteered the information.
Yeah. Because all we did was ask nicely.
Right.
Yeah. It was purely a voluntary program.
Right.
It's the same thing as their coordination with Facebook and old school Twitter and the like. It's like, we didn't tell them to ban people. We just said that I think this Twitter account is spreading misinformation.
Yeah.
You might want to do something about that.
And by the way, we're the entity that regulates your entire industry.
Yeah. It'd be a shame if something happened to your nice little business here, wouldn't it?
Precisely.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Sure does.
Does it sound like a shakedown?
Sounds like the mafia.
Because it is.
Well, my guess is that a lot of people in the banking industry and that industry itself, they don't care. If they go after you ideologically.
No.
But this is, yes, we should be angry about what little information we have about what they've been doing, what they are doing. But secondly, look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. And for those of you on the left who are saying, hey, well, you people are extremists. You are gun nuts. You are bitter clingers, which you reminded me of a little bit ago. And so you are this. So I want them keeping an eye on you. Well, there weren't any references in there from any report that I've read on this, and I've read 3 of them now, that any of the keywords they asked banks to look for were Antifa, were BLM.
Right.
None of those were, it was only one side. So if this is the status you want and you want your big centralized all-powerful government to have this sort of thing and you're okay with it, okay, wait until the next time a Republican wins a presidential election. Maybe this year, more likely 2028. Maybe this year, though. We'll see. So if Trump gets elected this year, and you've got him really pissed off, you want him to redirect this to go after people that were looking for DNC purchases or pro-choice stuff or pro-abortion stuff, or not that he's really ideological on that, but you know what I mean.
We've had 3 shootings, I think, recently, 3 recent shootings by trans people. right? In various public venues. Imagine if you just decided, hey, you know what? I think this trans ideology may lead to terroristic actions. I'm going to flag your purchase of your Trans Lives Matter shirt. I'm going to flag purchases of your trans flag color, shirt, pins and whatnot. If you participated in a Pride event, I'm going to flag any purchases related to that, because who knows, maybe you might shoot up a school one day.
Oh, you went to Amazon and bought a book by Saul Alinsky?
Hey.
Or, or Ibram X. Kendi? Oh, well, then you're on a list.
Yep.
So instead of Cabela's, it'll be Target.
Exactly. Exactly.
It'll be Left Bank Books,
Left Bank Books.
That's right.
Yep.
So that's what we're talking about. Yes, it's about their targeting of people ideologically and religiously.
Yeah, that's obviously gross.
That's it. But it's also, this is why we fight against big, centralized, all-knowing governments.
Right.
This is why we say, listen, Orwell was giving us a warning, not a how-to guide.
And this is why it should matter to you, even if you do find us deplorable.
Yes.
Like this tool can go against you too.
1984 should stay in the fiction section, not get moved over to the nonfiction
Right, to the
section.
current events section. Yeah, precisely.
As should the movie Idiocracy, please.
314-912-1019. We got a little bit left before we turn things over to Vic Porcelli here. Got some thoughts on that, got some time. Otherwise, how productive are you when you did the work from home thing? You work from home on your full-time job a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. Do you find yourself more productive or less productive as opposed to going into the office? Don't answer just yet.
Okay.
All right. We'll get Gabe's answer right around 8:52 on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Everlasting summer, you can see it fading fast. So you grab a piece of something that you think is gonna last.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Reeling in the years, stowing away the time. Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine?
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo. The new year is upon us, and the cleaning pros at Zero Res are starting things off with a bang with what I think is their best offer ever. Book a cleaning in January and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119, plus you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. We trust Zero Res with our home, and after you take advantage of this amazing special, you will too. Just remember to mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Thursday. Tim and I will talk about the New Hampshire debate that wasn't, and at 5:25 we'll speak with Tom Smith from the Soda Museum.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You get a shiver in the dark. It's raining in the park. But meantime.
All right, Vic Porcelli is going to be here in about 11 minutes. Taking over. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. 8:52 right now. You're doing your full-time work, that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if you're doing work from home some of the week, a lot of other people are as well.
Yeah, I'm doing a hybrid schedule, so I think three days out of the week, I'm for the most part, I'm doing remote.
Do you think
remote
you're
work.
more productive working from home or working in the office?
I think I'm overly productive working from home.
Tell me what you mean by overly productive, because I think I understand.
Yeah. See, the thing is, because there are no interruptions. Because you don't have a coworker coming by. You don't overhear a conversation about some other thing that you talk about. If you get focused on a particular job, you'll just work straight through.
Yeah.
And then and sometimes I'll look up and like, oh, it's lunchtime. I should probably eat. Actually, it's past lunchtime.
Yeah,
I should
yeah,
probably
yeah.
eat. And especially at the end of the day. The only indicator that I have that I should stop working is when my wife comes home from her job. It's like, so that's one of those things, is that because depending on your environment, my environment, I'm allowed to be hyper focused. So it's easy to just kind of get lost and keep moving.
And I don't mean to be nosy, but how about in the evening when all of a sudden you get this thought about, ooh, I should check on such and such, and you can go into your office at home.
Oh yeah,
and go ahead and do some more work at home.
That happens too. If like an idea strikes, it's like, oh, here's the thing that I haven't tried yet. I can just pick up my laptop and do it.
Yep. And it's interesting because what you just said tracks with what a recent study shows. Of course, the whole work from home thing, happened, really took off when, government was shutting down, businesses and everything. But here's the thing. Researchers looked at how many times the average worker got interrupted while working in person and interrupted remotely.
Right.
Okay. Well, so it's interesting, which, by the way, I did not show this to Gabe before we started talking.
Yeah, I didn't even.
So if you're in the office, people are interrupted an average of 17 times a week.
Okay.
If you are at home, you're interrupted 14 times a week.
Okay. So that's a little bit of a reduction there.
Yeah. So they say this proves that working from home is more efficient.
It seems to me like I get interrupted a lot more than 17 times in a week. It feels like a day.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, I think that first number is low.
Yeah.
And the second number is high.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they polled a lot of people with young kids.
So yes.
Who are studying from home.
But to your point, when you said overproductive, because for instance, before we started this radio station, I was working from the house. I was, working for different media companies, and I was doing work from the house. And what I found is that when I'm at home, I don't stop.
Right.
And I work far longer than I should. So like here, I mean, I can go home whenever I want. We don't have this clock in, clock out thing here. You get your job done. And, some days I'm here till 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Other days on a Friday, I'll try to, do my promo for Monday, and then I'm out. My weekend starts. But what I found is I worked longer hours and was more tired working from home.
Yes.
Now, the benefit was I could at some point stop and go, I'm going to get a workout in.
Yeah.
And then go. But I was more likely to work way past working hours when I was at home. And I think for me personally, it's a healthier setting for me to come into an office.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the thing. A lot of people do like to come into the office specifically because they want to separate that whole, the life-work balance thing. They want to do all that. I think personally, because I'm so comfortable at home, I don't feel that like sitting at my desk at work. The minute I sit down, I'm like, okay, when's lunch? You know what I mean? If I'm sitting down at home and I got my laptop on my lap, I'm just like, all right, here we go, and I just keep going. So yeah, definitely.
There were times I was doing like filling in for radio stations around the country, and I've got the studio set up in my house or with my own media stuff that I own. I'm like, I'm at work, I'm working hard, but I am in my gym shorts and t-shirt, and I'll shower after my workout. And so, I basically, look, like I'm a completely disheveled mess at that point, but I was getting stuff done,
Now, one thing I do particularly like is the flexibility because, my schedule, because of radio, I added radio in recently. I have a 12-hour workday, so in the winter I do not see the sun. It's not. It just doesn't exist.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, although I leave it.
Yeah,
if I leave at noon or
when
1,
you leave at noon,
I get a little
sun
bit
there.
of sun.
Yeah, if I'm leaving at like 6. So so the thing is the ability to run. You can't go to the bank. You can't. You can't do just the random sort of a errand type of things. Those type of things that I appreciate being able to just interrupt my day that way and actually do it. Those are the actually only interruptions I do is when I schedule something like that. It's like, hey, go pick up milk. All right. Whatever.
Go do that.
Yeah.
In other words, go on to
Instacart.
Janet texts. Oh yeah, you're not going out to do any of that stuff.
I'm not doing that. I don't deal with people at a grocery store.
People.
All right, Vic Porcelli coming here just ahead. Hey, thanks for another set of great conversations, everybody.
When it's important to you,
Great, you're talking about this.
It's on News Talk STL.
Nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. I feel that as a president, you have to have immunity.
It would be awfully scary if there weren't some sort of